Part 36. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 352. Hearing the movement in the yard, a woman in her early 40s came out of the house. Seeing Li Jie and Shen Xian carrying things, she was stunned for a moment and focused on Li Jie. Who are you looking for? As soon as Shen Xian put down her things, took off her mask and sunglasses, she smiled and called the woman, Mom. When the woman saw Shen Xian, a look of surprise appeared on her face. Yao, you're back, why didn't you call in advance? Li Jie took a look at Mother Shen. She was not tall, less than 160 centimeters tall. Her eyebrows looked very similar to Shen Xinyi's, and she had a kind temperament. It seems that his mother-in-law should be easier to get along with. Mother Shen looked at Li Jie again. Who is this? Li Jie also took off his mask and sunglasses and said respectfully, Hello, Aunt. Shen Xian introduced with a smile, Mom, this is my boyfriend Li Jie. Ah, Ziaji, you are welcome to come home and play. Mother Shen acted a little reserved. Get in the house quickly. She heard her daughter say last year that she was acting like a friend and was a classmate. Now that my daughter is so old, it's normal for her to play tricks on her friends. Unexpectedly, she suddenly saw her daughter on TV this year. After questioning, she found out that the boy her daughter was looking for turned out to be a billionaire. Arriving at the house, Mother Shen called Li Jie to sit down quickly. Auntie, it's my first time here. I don't know what you and uncle like, so I just bought something. Li Jie and Shen Xinyi put the gifts on the coffee table together. Xiao Jie, just come as a person. You don't need to bring anything. Mother Shen was busy making tea and getting fruits. Mom, where is my dad? Shen Xian asked. He went to the crab pond. Mother Shen put down the fruit and sat down on the sofa. Yao, peel an apple for Ziaji. She chatted with Li Jie for a while and was very satisfied with her future son-in-law. He is dignified in appearance, humble and courteous, mature and steady. Although he is rich, he has no pride at all. At this time, I heard a young woman's voice coming from the yard, Honey, I saw a car parked in front of your house. Are you a guest? A young woman in her mid-20s, plump and fair-skinned walked in. Sister, you're back. When she saw Shen Xinyi, a look of surprise appeared on her face. She was even more surprised when she saw Li Jie again, Jin Tan. This young woman is somewhat related to the Shen family, and she is Shen Xinyi's distant cousin. She was a fan of the heirs and asked Li Jie and Shen Xinyi a lot about the filming of the TV series and stayed for a while before leaving. Soon, the news spread in the village that the celebrity daughter of the old Shen family had returned with her celebrity boyfriend. Relatives, friends, and people from the neighborhood all came over to see the two people and asked questions, which was very strange. The courtyard was full of people and it was very lively. Father Shen, who was working in the crab pond, rushed back after receiving the news. Father Shen is in his early 170s, doesn't talk much, and looks very loyal and honest. After chatting with Li Jie, Father Shen was quite satisfied with him. In fact, for the girl's parents, choosing a son-in-law depends on nothing more than appearance, height, character, and ability. These are not problems at all for Li Jie. Compared with those pretty boys who are unreliable at first glance, he has thick eyebrows and big eyes, and a righteous look on his face, which makes him very popular with his father-in-law and mother-in-law. Who would have thought that he, with his thick eyebrows and big eyes, would also betray? No, he is a scumbag. It wasn't until around 1 p.m. that the crowd of spectators gradually dispersed. In order to entertain Li Jie, a good son-in-law, Shen's mother cooked a large table of sumptuous dishes. The specialty is spicy crab. The Shen family has 3 acres of crab ponds and raises Chinese mitten crab seedlings, commonly known as hairy crabs. This home-raised hairy crab is natural and pollution-free. The conditions in the countryside are simple, and it's just home-cooked food. Don't dislike it, Xiaji, Mother Shen said politely. Auntie, you are so polite. I can't even eat this pure natural green food if I want to, Li Jie said with a smile. Mother Shen smiled and glanced at Li Jie, knowing that he was being polite. With the other person's wealth, he can't eat whatever he wants. I couldn't help but be very satisfied with his attitude. Try these crabs. The ones raised at home are very fresh. She and Li Jie took a big crab. Thank you, Auntie. Mother Shen's cooking skills are good, but it's just a little too spicy. Spicy crab, spicy chicken, chungqing twice cooked pork, spicy boiled fish, etc. A large table full of spicy dishes. Li Jie glanced at Shen Xinyi and found that she was eating very deliciously. She worked hard until midnight yesterday and didn't eat anything this morning. She was really hungry. Shen Xian cracked the crab seriously. She looked as if she was not eating crabs, but doing something important. Li Jie looked at her and couldn't help but chuckle. What are you laughing at? Shen Xinyi glanced at him in confusion while breaking off the crabs. Nothing, Li Jie said with a smile. He suddenly thought of a question: how could she still have such white, tender, and delicate skin despite eating spicy food every day, with no acne at all? In addition, when he was visiting the night market at the end, he found that there were indeed many beauties on the streets of Chongqing, and their skin was very good, fair, and delicate. This is very unscientific. After eating, Shen Xian felt a little sleepy again. However, from time to time, people from the neighborhood would come to see Li Jie and Shen Xian for the sake of visiting. Li Jie and Shen Xian also had to deal with it. After dealing with another group of people, she said to Li Jie, "Shall I take you around?" In front of her parents at home, she was embarrassed to call him husband. The two of them went out together and walked casually along the village road. When people in the village saw the two of them, they would greet them warmly. After walking around with Shen Xian for a while, Li Jie found that this village was indeed relatively wealthy and its economy was developing very well. Not only are there large crab ponds, but there are also many textile factories. To the southeast of the village and town, a park is still being planned. There is also a residential complex under construction. It may not be long before this place changes from a village to a city. Li Jie glanced at Shen Xinyi, who was walking beside him with a smile on his face and a relaxed look. She is the only daughter in the family, her parents love her, her family is in good condition, her neighbors are harmonious, and her hometown is prosperous. No wonder she developed such a lively and innocent character. He will pamper her even more in the future, hoping that she will remain innocent like this. Don't follow the example of Xiao Qiao and Zhou Ziyu. They are always fighting back and forth. After visiting the village, Shen Xinyi took Li Jie to visit his crab pond. The two rode in the crab pond for a while and caught a basket of crabs, which they took home to eat at night. After dinner in the evening, Li Jie and the Shen family sat on the sofa and watched TV together. After watching the CCTV news, Shen Xinyi took the remote control and kept switching channels to find dramas to watch. She finally chose Mango Channel's Let's Watch the Meteor Shower. The show premieres today. Shen Xian looked at it for a while and was attracted. However, neither Father Shen nor Mother Shen is interested in this kind of idle drama. Father Shen and Li Jie said hello and went to find someone to play mahjong. If Li Jie, the future son-in-law, hadn't come today, he would have left long ago. Mother Shen also went to the kitchen to wash dishes. Li Jie also has no interest in the drama Meteor Shower. Many parts of this show are really outrageous. What, my name is not He, my name is Chu Yugzun. The classic sentences are endless. Li Jie glanced in the direction of the kitchen, stretched out his hand to take Shen Xian, who was looking into his arms, and let her sit on his lap. She is soft, fleshy, and extremely comfortable to hold. Husband, Please stop making trouble. Shen Xinyi also glanced in the direction of the kitchen and whispered. Li Zhe's hands were so dishonest that she couldn't concentrate on watching the show. Leave me alone, it's up to you. Li Zhe kissed Shen Xinyi's white and tender neck and continued to get familiar with her body. She watches dramas, he is familiar with her body, and they have things to do. How great! With a pure face and sexy figure, his little girlfriend is so adorable. Ever since he formally taught Shen Xinyi how to drive, he could clearly feel that her figure was getting better and better. Relatively speaking, Xiao Qiao is hard to describe. He has been working part-time as a masseuse for 2 years, but she is still mediocre. After watching 2 episodes of the TV series, it was almost 10 p.m. A little sleepy, Shen Xian stretched lazily. She was very energetic while watching the drama, but felt sleepy after watching it. Mother Shen came down from upstairs and walked over. Seeing his mother-in-law coming, Li Zhe let go of Shen Xinyi. It can't be too blatant. However, he was just trying to hide it, and Shen's mother had already discovered that the two of them were hugging each other. Xiao Zhe, I packed up your room for you. You guys have to catch a flight back early in the morning and you must not have slept well. Go to bed early. Li Zhe didn't say that he arrived last night, and after tossing Shen Xian for half the night, he got up late today. I just said I had to catch a flight this morning. Thank you, Auntie. Mother Shen took Li Zhe upstairs and looked at the room. The room is not big and the layout is quite simple. But it was extremely clean, and the sheets and quilts were all brand new. The conditions in the countryside are simple, Xiaozhi, just make do with it, Mother Shen said politely. Auntie, don't say that. Before I started my business, my family's conditions were actually very poor. Li Zhe paused and then said with a smile, let's go back 3 generations. Who is not from the countryside? We can't forget our roots. After hearing this, Mother Shen became even more satisfied with Li Zhe. This future son-in-law was good at everything. She could also see that the other party really liked her daughter. Her only worry is that Li Zhe has too much money. It's wrong that our family and the other party are not in the same family. The gap is too big. After Shen's mother left, Li Zhe found a change of clothes and took a shower first. What he told Mother Shen was the truth. He really didn't think the Shen family's conditions were poor. At least it's much better than his home. Besides, Li Zhe is not that particular about food and accommodation. His only hobby is to like beautiful girls. After taking a shower and returning to the room, Li Zhe opened his laptop, opened his mailbox first, and looked at the emails sent by his subordinates. After reading the email, he opened the short video platform again and browsed daily, short videos. Soon, it was early morning, but Li Zhe didn't feel sleepy. Shen, dear, are you already asleep at this time? With this in mind, Li Zhe left the room and went downstairs quietly. Shen Xinyi's room is on the first floor, right next to Shen's father and Shen's mother's rooms. He arrived at the door of Shen Xinyi's room and knocked gently. After waiting for a while, there was no movement. Shen Xinyi must have fallen asleep. Li Zhe took out his cell phone and called her. Be good, open the door. Soon, the door was opened, and Shen Xian walked out sleepily. Husband, it's so late, what do you want? I'm afraid you'll be lonely, so I came here to stay with you. Li Zhe put his arm around her waist and walked into the room. Stay with her? It's true that he came to bully her. Beast, Shen Xinyi couldn't help but slandered in his heart. He had tormented her for half the night last night. She wanted to have a good night's rest tonight, but she didn't expect him to come again. Li Zhe took a look at Shen Xinyi's boudoir. The room was not big and the decoration was very warm. The pink decorative style is very suitable for a cute girl like her. After looking around the room, he turned his attention to Shen Xinyi. She only wore a pink suspender nightgown, and one shoulder strap slipped down, exposing a large area of white and tender skin to the air. Isn't this Shen Guigui trying to seduce him? Shen Xian panicked when Li Jie saw him. His eyes seemed to. She quickly pulled up the shoulder strap. Husband, you'd better go back and wait for a chance tomorrow. I'll be. Well. However, before she could finish speaking, Li Jie sealed her mouth with action. Honey, I can't do it, my parents are right next door, Shen Xinyi whispered while resisting. If her parents heard the news, she would die of shame. Li Jie put her on the bed. Good boy, just don't make any sound. Don't make a sound? It was so easy to say, how could she not say anything? Just when Shen Xian was thinking this, her mouth was blocked. Well. It turned out that Li Jie grabbed something and stuffed it into her mouth. Shen Xian became anxious for a moment and opened her mouth to spit out the thing, but Li Jie didn't give her a chance at all. It wasn't until 2 or 3 in the morning that Li Jie came out of Shen Xinyi's boudoir. Just when he reached the stairs and was about to go upstairs, the door of the master bedroom suddenly opened and Shen's mother walked out. Xiao Jie, it's so late and you're still not asleep. Seeing Li Jie, Shen's mother was stunned and said. I came out to use the bathroom, Li Jie said with a smile without changing his expression. Xiao Jie, you don't have to go downstairs to use the bathroom. There is a bathroom upstairs, Mother Shen said. She had a very good impression of Li Jie, and she had no idea that he would do anything like this. Li Jie nodded. Auntie, I'll go upstairs. Mother Shen looked at Li Jie's back and felt something was wrong. Although he went to bed very late, Li Jie got up very early. The next day, he got up at around 7 o'clock in the morning. However, Shen Xinyi got up very late. It wasn't until breakfast was ready that Shen's mother went to her room and woke her up. Shen Xian came to the living room with sleepy eyes and a tired look on his face. Xinyi, haven't you had a good rest? You can catch up on some sleep later, Li Jie said with concern. Shen Xian glanced at Li Jie and ignored him. This guy went too far last night. No matter how good-tempered she was still a little angry. Yao didn't you go to bed very early last night? Why are you still so lack of energy? Why are you down? When Shen's father and Shen's mother were not paying attention, Shen Xian gave Li Jie a hard look. It's all this bastard's fault. Li Jie stayed at Shen's house for 4 or 5 days. Respecting elders, dealing with relatives and friends, and even having a meal with Shen Xinyi and her former classmates to save her face. He has fulfilled all the obligations of a qualified boyfriend. However, he also asked Shen Xinyi to fulfill his girlfriend's obligations. Even if she took the initiative during the day, he would still knock on the door at night. Once, Shen Xian got so angry when he was bullied that he even bit him. A tooth mark was left on his shoulder. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 353. In fact, as long as Shen Xian didn't open the door, there was nothing Li Jie could do. After all, he didn't dare to force his way into the boudoir under the eyes of his father-in-law and mother-in-law. However, even if Shen Xian was angry, when Li Jie knocked on the door again at night, as long as he called her to coax her, she would open the door and let the wolf in. Then, Li Jie would completely forget his promise and bully her to death again. Shen Xinyi fell into the daily routine again and again. It can only be said that she is honest. And Shen Xinyi always couldn't get up and looked tired, which would inevitably make Father Shen and Mother Shen suspicious. Shen's mother also told Shen Xian once or twice to tell her to go to bed early and stop playing on the computer all the time. Shen's mother still didn't expect that it was Li Jie who was stealing love and jade. She just thought she was playful. Shen Xinyi, who was depressed after being taught a lesson by her parents, bit Li Jie again when he bullied her again. On the 5th day, Li Jie said goodbye to Father Shen and Mother Shen. Father Shen and Mother Shen enthusiastically asked him to stay a few more days, but Li Jie declined with a smile. To be honest, if the company hadn't been too busy with business affairs, Li Jie would definitely have stayed at the Shen family for a few more days. He was really addicted to bullying Shen Xinyi. Besides, stealing fragrance and jade is really exciting. Shen Xian on the side couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he heard that Li Jie was leaving. Li Jie is so bad. He knows that she dare not speak out at home, but he deliberately. It's the same as the execution every night. Moreover, he did it again and again. If this goes on, she really won't be able to bear it anymore. In the past, when she saw Li Jie bullying Xiaoqiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and others, she would get sour and jealous. But now she really hopes that someone will help her share the burden. It's so hard. At this time, Li Jie turned his head and glanced at her with a smile. Xinyi, come back with me. You go back first, I'll stay for a few more days. Shen Xian listened and shook his head quickly. His smile showed good intentions at first glance. Okay then, Li Jie nodded and said. However, Shen's mother said, Yao you should go back with Ziyaji. Anyway, you have nothing to do at home. Aren't you working as a secretary for Ziyaji? It's good if you can help him a little bit. Father Shen also said, yes, you should go back too. Looking at her parents who knew nothing, Shen Xian felt helpless. She wanted to get rid of Li Jie and rest at home for a few days, but they still wanted to drive her away. On the last night at the Shen family, Li Jie intensified his bullying of Shen Xian. The movement was a bit loud, and both Father Shen and Mother Shen were alarmed. Mother Shen asked outside the door what happened. Shen Xinyi could only lie and say that there were cockroaches. Seeing that Li Jie was still laughing, she bid him again angrily. Before leaving the next day, Shen Xinyi, who had been bullied badly, did not get up again in the morning. Mother Shen knocked on the door and called her up, then spoke to her again. Shen Xinyi felt depressed and aggrieved. On the plane, Li Jie glanced at Shen Xinyi, who looked tired and fell asleep on the chair. He rang the bell to call the flight attendant and asked for a thin blanket to cover her. Husband, Shen Xian woke up with sleepy eyes. Li Jie smiled and touched her head, and said warmly, my dear, you can sleep for a while first. When we get home, we can take a shower and have a good sleep. Yeah, Shen Xian nodded. Seeing how considerate Li Jie was, she immediately forgave him for his excessive behavior in the past few days. However, she was still too naive. How could she believe what the scumbag said? After coming out of the airport, Li Jie did not go back to Beijinwan Mansion, but took Shen Xian back to her residence. Opening the door, the two walked into the house. Shen Xinyi said, honey, I'm going to take a shower. She was going to take a comfortable bath and have a good sleep early. Let's wash together. Li Jie picked her up. Husband, didn't you mean? My dear, don't think too much, it's just a shower, I won't do anything else. From afternoon until dark. Li Jie went too far. Not only did he bully others, he also refused to give them food. It wasn't until after 7 o'clock in the evening that he carried Shen Xinyi from the bedroom to the kitchen and fed her something to eat. Shen Xian didn't eat much all morning, and he didn't eat much on the plane at noon. So not only was he bullied miserably, but he was also starved. In fact, Li Jie was not lying. He really didn't want to bully Shen Xinyi again. But it's not his fault that she is too cute and can't control herself. It's her fault. After this experience, Shen Xinyi was really afraid of Li Jie and avoided him for more than a week. After returning from Chongqing, several days passed. On August 20th, A Little Smile is Charming was launched on Kudong Short Video. Love Apartment 1 was aired on August 14th and has received more than 300 million views. Driven by the Kudong platform, it is extremely popular online. It wasn't popular on the radio, but it became popular online. Several newcomers starring in the play are also famous. A Little Smile is Charming was aired immediately after, just in time to catch up with the popularity of Love Apartment. Plus, under the banner of the original cast of the airs. Therefore, the first 2 episodes of the premiere received more than 50 million views and the platform's traffic skyrocketed. Although after the first 2 episodes were aired, the audience discovered that the so-called original cast was just a gimmick. But the novel subject matter, handsome men and beautiful women, still made their eyes shine. As the plot progresses, the popularity continues to rise. Nini finally became popular. With 4 movies and 2 TV series, the projects invested by Cuckoo Entertainment have been successful one after another, making the outside world more optimistic. Some people have already said that Cuckoo Entertainment is the second Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit is currently the largest private entertainment company in the country, and it will go to Shenzhen to ring the bell for listing in October. On the afternoon of August 28, Li Jie and Zhang Jingxian came to a coffee shop on the Bund and met with Yang Fengxian. When Li Jie and Zhang Jingxian arrived at the coffee shop, Yang Fengxian had already arrived early. Seeing the 2 people coming, she quickly took off her sunglasses, stood up, and said with a smile, "Mr. Li, Manager Zhang." Yang Fengxian maintained a very low profile. She is just a little famous actor, but Li Jie is the big shot in the industry who can decide her fate. Even though Li Jie is nothing compared to the capital giants, to Yang Fengxian, he is already a big shot. "Miss Yang, sit down," Li Jie smiled and nodded to her. After the 3 of them sat down together, Yang Fengxian called the waiter, asked Li Jie and Zhang Jingxian, and ordered 3 cups of coffee. After the waiter left, she smiled and said, "Mr. Li, I like playing Ion very much." She has rhinitis, and her nasal voice is relatively heavy, which makes her voice a little whiny. "Really?" Li Jie smiled, not taking this kind of conditional statement seriously. "I also really like watching Miss Yang's drama." He quite liked Far Cry. Although this movie is terrible, it has a lot of connotation. After the 2 sides exchanged a few polite words, Li Jie got straight to the point, "Ms. Yang, how are you thinking about it?" The conditions offered by Cuckoo Entertainment were that it would invest 30 million to fund the establishment of a personal studio, accounting for 70% of the shares. And promised to give her 3 movie resources. "Mr. Li, can I ask why you think so highly of me?" Yang Fengxian said. She was surprised when she received the poaching offer from Cuckoo Entertainment. The conditions given by the other party were too good. Taking 30% for nothing, shares worth nearly 10 million, she didn't think she was really worth the price. Yang Fengxian even doubted whether Li Jie had any thoughts about her. Li Jie looked at her and nodded, "I am very optimistic about Miss Yang's potential." But potential is just potential, you still have to prove yourself. So these 30% shares are just options to get the shares. You must complete the gambling agreement, and the studio's after-tax net profit must be no less than 30 million within 1.5 years. If you lose the bet, then your work is in vain. After hearing this, Yang Fengxian suddenly understood. This is normal, there is no such thing as a free benefit. "Mr. Li, can I take a look at those 3 scripts first?" Li Jie glanced at Zhang Jingxian. She took out 3 scripts from her bag and placed them on the table. "I am a witness, 33 Days After Love, Sunny Sisters. All 3 scripts have registered copyright." Yang Fengxian picked up the script and started reading it. She just skimmed through it very quickly, and finished reading all 3 scripts in just over 10 minutes. A crime suspense film and 2 low-budget youth films. "Mr. Li, thank you for your consideration. I am willing to join the company." After putting down the script, Yang Fengxian immediately expressed his stance. She knew that this was an extremely rare opportunity. If she really won the bet, she would not only be an actor, but also a boss. As for losing the bet, if you work for free, you will work for free, and it's not like selling yourself. Besides, she made a lot of money just by using the resources of these 3 movies. Nowadays, domestic entertainment companies, namely Fahrenheit and Kinku Entertainment, have film resources that they can use. Other companies rely more on directors from Hong Kong. A young actor like her has no connections and cannot get film resources at all. The 2 movies she acted in before, one was by chance and the other was invested by the company. Well, Miss Yang, welcome to join the group. Li Jie smiled and extended his hand. It is indeed a great power, it is really decisive. Yang Fengxian quickly shook hands with him and said, Mr. Li, I need you to take more care of me in the future. Don't worry, the group will be your backing from now on, Li Jie said. Yang Fengxian couldn't help but feel warm after hearing this. In the past 1 or 2 years, she had been very unhappy in Rongxinda. The new red mansion produced by the company only gave her Kingwen, who was not even a 13th hairpin. Mr. Li, my contract with Rongxinda will not expire until next year. Although she has made up her mind to leave, she has not yet had a showdown with the company. This time she came to Shanghai secretly. Li Jie nodded. Rongxinda, and Tang Ren, don't worry. If you offend, you will be offended. The group will help you resist. Tang Ren's boss asked Yang Feng to play Tang Suejian in Sword and Sword 3 and also wanted to sign her. So after she defected to Hong Kong, she not only offended her old club Rongxinda, but also Tang Ren. When Yang Fengxian heard this, his face lit up. Thank you, boss. She felt more and more that she had made the right choice and that the boss was so responsible. After finishing the matter, the 3 of them left the coffee shop together. When they parted, Yang Fengxian said, Boss, let's exchange phone numbers. Okay, Li Jie did not refuse. After exchanging phone numbers, Yang Fengxian added, Boss, what games do you like to play? We can play games together when we have time. There are many celebrities in the entertainment industry who like to play games, and Yang Fengxian is one of them. Li Jie smiled and said, I don't play games. Yang Fengxian was a little surprised when he heard that a young man, a game company owner, didn't play games. Li Jie thought for a while and said, by the way, the company will have a new game online in 2 or 3 months. You should like to play this game. The game he's talking about is League of Legends. At the end of August and the beginning of September, it's the new school year again. On August 30th, Xiao Jiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi all returned to school and went to Hongcheng. 2 years have passed in the blink of an eye, and they are all juniors. Li Jie drove them to the airport himself. As for Zhou Ziyu, it only took half an hour to drive from the Bund to Suyi, so she no longer had to live on campus. When Xiao Jiao left, she felt extremely unhappy when she saw that Zhou Ziyu was staying at the Beijinwan mansion and refused to move out. She decided not to wait until October for her internship, but to stay in school for a few days and come back quickly. In order to welcome the back-to-school season, Kudong Short Video also held an event. In the beginning of the school season, a video was shot together in the girls' dormitory. From September 1st to the 30th, freshmen from grade 2009 in major universities across the country can upload their dormitory co-productions to the platform. Then, through netizen voting, the top 100 most beautiful dormitories in the country were selected. The 100 players who upload their works, 11 to 100, can get a bonus of 1,000 yuan. And the 4th to 10th place can get a bonus of 2,000 yuan. As for the top 3, the bonuses are 10,000, 6,000, and 3,000 respectively. Li Jie asked Kudong to conduct this activity with the sole purpose of attracting traffic to the short video platform. After several waves of traffic diversion activities, the average daily users of Kudong platform reached more than 40 million, which is not much worse than established video platforms such as Tudo.com. It is even more important to take advantage of the situation and go further. Tudo was the first to make short videos in China, but unfortunately this platform is about to be finished. A tragedy caused by a divorce lawsuit. Early on the morning of August 30th, Josie woke up in Li Zhe's arms. Glancing at Li Zhe, who was still sleeping, she gently broke out of his arms, picked up the nightgown on the side and started to get out of bed. However, despite Josie's gentle movements, Li Zhe still woke up. He reached out and pulled her back again, holding her in his arms. Being used to being surrounded by beautiful women, Li Zhe developed a bad habit. If he didn't hold a beautiful girlfriend, he would feel like he was lacking something and would suffer from insomnia and couldn't sleep. Go to class. Well, today is the first day of class. Isn't it still early? Li Zhe looked at the time and found that it was only after 6 o'clock. We still have to cook, Josie said softly. As a cook, she only serves Li Zhe. Stop it, I don't want to eat, I just want to. Li Zhe did not ask Josie to cook, but asked her to do morning exercise with him. Don't get me wrong, it's just running. After finishing his run, Li Zhe felt refreshed. Sure enough, life lies in movement. Josie was a little tired, her pretty face was slightly red, she was slightly out of breath, and she was sweating a lot. But she didn't bother to rest. She took a shower, changed her clothes, and drove to school without even putting on makeup. It's already past 7 o'clock, and class starts at 8 o'clock. Although a well-known student like her is somewhat privileged, it's still not good to be late on the first day of school. Josie drove her Porsche Boxster S skillfully, speeding all the way, and arrived at the Sui campus of the National Normal University in more than 20 minutes. She is now very good at driving, fast and steady. After parking the car, it was only 2 or 3 minutes before the bell rang for class. Josie hurried to the teaching building with her textbooks in hand. On campus, freshmen and their parents can be seen everywhere dragging their luggage to register. They looked at everything on campus with curiosity and excitement. Seeing Josie walking by in a hurry, surprise flashed in his eyes. What a beautiful senior! The boys even felt that they had chosen the right school. Josie walked into the classroom with the bell ringing. As soon as she arrived in the classroom, the bell rang. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Zhe. Chapter 354. Seeing Josie coming, many boys in the classroom turned to her. She is the beauty star of the school. With her here, the boys in the class no longer skip classes. There were also many boys who came over to see her in the name of listening. As for the boys who have a crush on her, I don't know how many. The name of school beauty is well deserved. Josie found a seat in the back row and sat down. Soon, teacher Karen also walked into the classroom and started class. After 2 major classes, Josie went directly to the restaurant after leaving the school building. During lunchtime, there were many people on the first floor of Magnolia Restaurant. It was bustling and full of students eating, and there were long queues at each window. This restaurant is the school's #1 canteen. Since it is the closest to the teaching building, it is always overcrowded at noon every day. Josie went up to the second floor and came to the ordering area on the left. There are a lot of students eating on the second floor, but they are much less than on the first floor. Tsuyu, here Zhao Jinja had arrived early. When she saw Josie coming, she smiled and waved to her. Josie came to the seat opposite her and sat down. Xiangzi and Sissy haven't come yet, she asked. They're almost here too. The reason why Zhao Jinja came so early was because she skipped class. She is completely uninterested in class now, she only wants to make short videos and become a big internet celebrity. After a while, Yu Xiangzi and Cao Qian also came together. They are in the same class, both are English majors, non-normal. Yu Xiangzi was still dressed extremely delicately, and Cao Qian still had a world-weary look. After ordering and waiting for the food to arrive, the three of them chatted about interesting things during the summer vacation while eating. The four of them are good-looking and well-known in the school. When they see them sitting together, people around them will look at them from time to time. Zhao Jinja glanced at Zhou Ziyu. Ziyu, how are you and Li Jie doing? Zhou Ziyu smiled and said, it's still like that, which is pretty good. Have you ever thought about when to get married? For a good man like Li Jie, you should hurry up. I also want to get married early, but I have to wait until graduation. No one stipulates that you can't get married in college. Tsuyu, when you get married, Xiangzi, and Sissy will all be your bridesmaids. Zhao Jinja has seen some fragmentary news on the internet, saying that Zhou Ziyu's boyfriend, Li Jie, is not only her girlfriend, but she also stole someone else's boyfriend. However, she didn't care about these gossips, she just thought about how to further establish a relationship with Li Jie. Now Kudong's #1 internet celebrity is Zhao Minjiao, with nearly 10 million fans. I feel pity for her, her pure and innocent temperament has won her a large number of die-hard fans. Zhao Minjiao became famous for her ancient-style cross-dressing videos, and her temperament matches the ancient style very well, so she is known as the #1 beauty in ancient costumes on the internet. She is also the most popular internet celebrity in China, and her popularity is even as high as that of A-list celebrities. A commercial performance costs 700,000. There was even a rich second-generation man who said he was willing to pay 5 million to treat her to dinner. Of course, 5 million is definitely not as simple as just one meal. However, this is just wishful thinking. Zhao Minjiao is now the traffic password of the platform and the company's cash cow. She is protected to death, so how can she let others touch her? A large part of her current popularity comes from her innocent personality. Once scandals are exposed, her popularity will plummet. As for Zhao Minjiao, Zhao Jinja, Suyani, and others, they were all envious and jealous. A little factory girl who graduated from junior high school outperformed them all. Why? Although Zhao Jinja has been praised by the platform for a while, her fans only have more than 2 million, which is completely incomparable to Zhao Minjiao. In her opinion, the reason why Zhao Minjiao is so popular is entirely because the platform supports her and has endless resources. If she had such good resources, she would definitely not be inferior. The best way to get resources is to directly contact the big boss Li Jie. After eating, Zhou Ziyu, Zhao Jinja, Yu Xiangzi, and Cao Qian returned to the dormitory together. As soon as she returned to the dormitory, Zhao Jinja took out the DV camera and set it up. Jinja, do you want to take a video again? Yu Xiangzi glanced at her. Didn't the Kudong platform organize a back-to-school activity? Let's do one together in our dormitory, right? Zhao Jinja said with a smile. Isn't it said that only freshmen can participate in this event? Cao Qian said. If we don't participate in the activities, we will just film and play. Tsuyu, Xiangzi, and Qian, let's take a photo together. Zhao Jinja looked at Zhou Ziyu, Yu Xiangzi, and Cao Qian and said in a pleased tone. After hearing what she said, Zhou Ziyu, Yu Xiangzi, and Cao Qian all agreed. Even though Zhou Ziyu didn't really want to take pictures. This video is very simple. The four people stretched out their hands together, shook them in front of the camera, and then appeared one by one, showing their faces. It took 2 takes and it was done. After filming the video, Cao Qian read a romance novel. Yu Xiangzi is going to take a beauty sleep. And Zhou Ziyu also went to bed to take a nap. She stayed away from Li Jie until midnight last night, and this morning she was dragged by him to do morning exercise and run again. The body feels tired. It is also very hard to have a boyfriend who is too capable. Zhao Jinja spent more than an hour editing the video and adding background music. She read it again and was very satisfied. This video they shot together is sure to go viral. In terms of appearance, which dormitory can compare with their dormitory? However, she wasn't going to upload the video just yet. The Kudong platform recently developed a video beautification software, which can achieve better results by processing the video beautification. There are only a very small number of naturally beautiful beauties like Zhou Ziyu and Wang Haining who can be praised for their beauty based on their looks. Therefore, to make short videos, high-quality beauty software is a must. When beauty is revealed, who is not a beauty? The title of the first of the four major evil arts in Asia is well deserved. In fact, beauty software existed as early as 2007, or even earlier. Although the beauty software developed by Kudong Company cannot be compared with the beauty software of later generations, it can still be regarded as the current first-class level. However, the current functions only include whitening, filters and microdermabrasion. Other features are still under development. In the afternoon, Zhou Ziyu went to the classroom for another big class. After class, she came out of the teaching building and prepared to drive away. At this time, a boy came over. When he saw Zhou Ziyu, he was stunned for a few seconds before he realized what he was doing and quickly chased after him. Beauty. Zhou Ziyu stopped and gave him a flat look. The boy is tall, has a short hairstyle, and has a cool-looking look. He is the type that girls like very much. Moreover, the other party's clothes are also very particular. What's the matter with you? Although the boys are not old, they have many girlfriends. He thought he had easy access to teasing girls, but when faced with the beautiful woman in front of him, he felt a little nervous and at a loss for words. This girl is so beautiful, and more importantly, she completely matches his aesthetics. Hello, beauty, my name is Dai Jingfeng. You are a student of this school, and so am I. Let's get to know each other and make friends. He noticed the textbook in her hand. Zhou Ziyu's face turned cold after hearing what he said. I'm sorry, I don't want to get to know you. And you're a freshman, right? Don't talk to your seniors. Dai Jingfeng listened and smiled. This beauty has quite a personality. Senior sister? That's even more important. Senior, I just want to get to know you, so there's no need to refuse like this, right? With that said, he stretched out his hand to pull Zhou Ziyu's arm. However, he was pulled away from behind. Be respectful. Lu Ji had been following Zhou Ziyu, and when she saw someone harassing her, she immediately took action. And there are bodyguards. Dai Jingfeng recognized Lu Ji's identity at a glance. At this time, he also realized that Zhou Ziyu should have some background. How can ordinary girls have bodyguards to protect them? However, if you have some background, you will feel more accomplished if you catch it. Dai Jingfeng followed Zhou Ziyu and Lu Ji. Zhou Ziyu had a cold face and Lu Ji stared at him defensively, but he didn't care and continued to chat with him with a smile. Senior, where are you going? How about I take you off? My car is parked over there. Dai Jingfeng pointed to the parking lot not far away. Zhou Ziyu still ignored him. She knew that this kind of person was like a mad dog. When you talked to him, he became more energetic. She had met many people who struck up a conversation, but none of them were as overly entangled as the other person. Arriving at the parking lot, Zhou Ziyu took out the car key and pressed it. The lights of the red convertible Porsche Boxster S flashed twice. When Dai Jingfeng saw it, he smiled and said, "Sister, your car is pretty good." He said this, but what he was thinking in his heart was that it was just an entry-level Porsche. This girl should have some background, but that's it. What a coincidence, my car is also parked here, Dai Jingfeng said, taking out the car key and pressing it. Not far away was a white convertible Ferrari California, its lights flashing twice. Zhou Ziyu acted as if he didn't hear anything, got into the car with Lu Ji, started the car and left. Dai Jingfeng also quickly got into the car and drove after him. The two sports cars drove out of the campus one after the other. Josiah glanced at the white Ferrari following behind through the rearview mirror, stepped on the accelerator, increased speed, and wanted to throw the opponent away. However, the opponent's driving skills were also good, so he followed closely and was never left behind. More than 20 minutes later, we arrived at the Bund. The red Porsche drove into a luxury community, but the white Ferrari was blocked outside. Dai Jingfeng, who was sitting in a white Ferrari, looked at the name of the community and said, Platinum Bay Mansion. After saying that, he smiled playfully and said, I know where you live. However, if Li Jie saw this scene, he would definitely say something to the other party, you are a little brat, why are you pretending to be so cool? At around 5 o'clock in the evening, Josiah was still busy cooking in the kitchen, and Li Jie came back. Josiah heard the door open and walked out of the kitchen. She was a little surprised and said, Husband, you came back so early today. Yeah, Li Jie glanced at Josiah. She was only wearing a black suspender nightgown and an apron. It's full of homely lady flavor. He didn't go to the gym to exercise today and came back directly from get off work. What are you making delicious? Stir-fried beef with green pepper, stewed mutton with yam. Josiah said as she came up to him and helped him take off his coat and get his slippers as usual. It's all my favorite food. Li Jie hugged her from behind. If he had had a girlfriend like Josiah in the past, he would probably wake up from his dreams laughing. But ordinary people are not qualified to have her. The two hugged each other for a while, and Josiah said softly, Honey, I'm still cooking something. After hearing what she said, Li Jie let her go. Josiah went to the kitchen again, while Li Jie went to the bathroom to take a shower. After taking a shower, he sat on the sofa and watched TV for a while. At 6:30, Josiah had the meal ready. Li Jie went to the kitchen and served the dishes with her. Then helped her take off her apron. The two of them were eating and chatting. Josiah gave Li Jie a piece of ribs, and then said softly, Husband, there is something I think it is necessary to tell you. Then, she told him about the harassment she encountered at school today. Josiah wouldn't tell Li Jie if it was a normal chat, but this time it was different. The other party had already followed her to the house, and it was obvious that he would not give up easily. Li Jie looked at her and thought to himself that this is a smart girl. Tell your boyfriend as soon as something happens. In TV dramas, the kind of heroine who tells everyone when she's in trouble, just hiding it from her boyfriend, is simply screwed up. In fact, Li Jie already knew this without Josiah having to say it. Lu Ji had already reported to him. Even a little kid dares to take ideas from Josiah. Just because my family has some money and some connections, I don't know how high the sky is. How could anyone with a real background come to normal university? Xiao, you can drive my car to school from now on. Li Jie took out the key to his Lamborghini and put it on the table. After his car arrived, he hadn't driven it a few times and it had been sitting in the parking lot gathering dust. He might as well have let Josiah drive it to school to look good. It's too low-key, and there are always people who don't open their eyes and harass me. Li Jie plans to buy another limited edition top-end luxury car for Xiaoqiao, Josiah, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi to drive. A Ferrari, what's so pretentious about it? Also, I will ask Master Shen to follow you to school tomorrow. Yeah, Josiah nodded obediently and put away the car keys. It's time to hire more bodyguards. After this incident, Li Jie realized that the bodyguards were not strong enough. Xiaoqiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi all have personal bodyguards. Josiah has to arrange 2 more. It is too easy for her to attract covetous people. In addition, Luan Xiaolin and Nini also have to send people to keep an eye on them. He didn't want to suddenly become environmentally friendly. There is no way to be greenlit if you have no money. If you are rich and powerful, it would be a joke to be greenlit. Another thing is to send someone to touch that kid's bottom and teach him a lesson so that he will remember it for a long time. Don't be a cheater. After eating, Josie put the dishes and chopsticks in the dishwasher and went to the bathroom to take a bath. She now takes a milk bath. When I was 20 years old, I began to worry about getting older. Ligia went to the study. After dealing with the company's trivial matters, Ligia started to read daily. No, he watched short videos. In addition to working all day long, he now bullies his beautiful girlfriend and lover, and watches short videos. The boring life of the rich. As for code words, he hasn't coded for a long time. Not only am I too busy with work, but I also have too many girlfriends and lovers to accompany me. But now that he is making millions a day, wouldn't he be sick if he continues to write words? Ligia is watching Zhao Minjiao's videos. The ancient style videos she took are particularly amazing. Her temperament is a bit like a famous Nakamori dish, and her pitiful appearance makes her protective. He also had a very good impression of this girl. She is very obedient and does whatever the company asks her to do. Unlike some people, their wings feel stiff when they are read. Such employees are worth cultivating. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 355. Husband, Josie opened the door and walked in. The thin spun pajamas on her body slipped down to her arms, and her white and smooth shoulders, delicate collarbones, and slender legs were exposed to the air, making her extremely sexy. This little lover is tempting him. Ligia looked at Josie and couldn't help but feel warm in his heart. Even though the two had been together for more than a year and a half, he still couldn't resist her temptation. He reached out and kissed her a little eagerly. She smelled very good, with a light milky scent. She had just taken a milk bath. The two were intimate for a while, and during the break, Josie said softly, "Honey, let's go to the bedroom." Go to the bedroom? This is not more interesting. When Josie woke up the next morning, she felt like she was being held in Ligia's arms and pressed against his chest. When she thought about last night, she was still a little scared. However, this is also what Josie wants. She just wanted to seize more opportunities while Xiaojiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi were away. Let good pregnancy come soon. I still have to go to class. Josie glanced at the clock on the wall and found that it was almost 8 o'clock. She will definitely be late this time. She was so tired last night that she overslept. Josie wanted to break away from Ligia's arms. But his hold was too tight, and she couldn't break free without using any force. But she didn't dare to use force. After struggling like this for a long time, I still couldn't break free. On the contrary, it woke Ligia up. Ligia opened his eyes, looked at Josie's pretty face and smiled slightly. She blushed because she was tired when she broke away just now. This little lover, seduce him early in the morning. Honey, I have class in the morning, Josie said softly after noticing the burning in Ligia's eyes. You're late anyway, so don't go in the morning. Ligia looked at the time. Normal university, teaching building, in a classroom. Teacher Ren is giving lectures on the podium. Some of the students below were listening carefully and taking notes, while others were not listening and were doing other things, and some were even dozing off. In the back row, near the corner, Dai Jingfeng was talking to an idle boy. Brother Feng, it seems that the girl you fell in love with didn't come. Isn't it because she was afraid of your harassment that she hid? The boy said to Dai Jingfeng with a smile. I can hide wherever I can. I won't believe it. She won't come to class, Dai Jingfeng said with a smile. Why, are you serious this time? I'm not sure, but I want to try. The boy became even more curious after hearing this. How beautiful is that girl that makes you so attracted to her? Do you have any photos? Show them to me. Did he know that Dai Jingfeng never had a girlfriend for more than 3 months? Dai Jingfeng took out his mobile phone, opened the photo album, and then showed it to the boy in a showy way. How about it, is it pretty enough? He found out Josie's identity last night. She is a goddess, drives a Porsche Boxster S, and has no one other than Josie in normal university. Find an old student and find out. The boy looked at the photo and smiled. So, you have fallen in love with her. What, do you know him? Dai Jingfeng asked. Internet celebrity beauty writer, Josie. She was very popular on the internet last year. The boy glanced at him. Why don't you know? When did this happen? About the National Day. Around National Day? I was abroad at that time. Dai Jingfeng was sent abroad by his family last year, but he got into trouble abroad and had to come back. Dai Jingfeng felt unspeakable regret at the thought of missing Josie for a year. After learning that Josie was not only beautiful, but also a talented woman and a best-selling author, he became even more interested. But Brother Feng, this beautiful writer seems to have a boyfriend, and her boyfriend is said to have some background, the boy said. So what if I have some background? Dai Jingfeng looked disapproving after hearing this. Besides, having a boyfriend is exciting enough. As he said that, he smiled wantonly, and the boy also laughed. Dai Jingfeng not only likes to steal other people's girlfriends, but also likes to take his own girlfriend. Two boys in the last row, if you two don't want to attend the class, please get out and don't delay others here. The two laughed so loudly that they made the female teacher who was giving the lecture angry. Dai Jingfeng and the boy looked at each other. The female teacher wearing glasses was a little disapproving, but she still lowered her voice. After sitting for a while, the boy became impatient and said, Brother Feng, let's go. Your beautiful writer probably won't come. Wait a little longer. Dai Jingfeng was still a little unwilling. However, after the two major classes were over, Josie still did not show up. At around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Josie drove a Lamborghini Murcielago LP640 to the school. She and Lu Ji came to the classroom together and found Dai Jingfeng sitting in the back row, joking with the idle boys. She couldn't help but frown, with disgust in her eyes. This guy is really like a dogskin plaster. Seeing Josie coming, Dai Jingfeng couldn't help but show joy on his face. He stood up and smiled to say hello to her. Suddenly, the smile on his face froze. He noticed that Josie looked lazy and there was something strange between his eyebrows. Dai Jingfeng has had so many girlfriends, so he has rich experience, and he immediately understood something. He couldn't help but feel an indescribable sourness and jealousy in his heart. The boy next to him touched him and said, Brother Feng, what's wrong? It's nothing. Dai Jingfeng suppressed his emotions. He was a little surprised as to why he was like this, even if he saw his girlfriend being. Josie sat down in the back row, by the window, and Lu Ji sat next to her. Dai Jingfeng came to Josie's table and said with a smile, Senior sister, do we meet again? Josie? What a nice name. Josie didn't seem to hear his words and didn't even raise his head. Finding someone chatting with Josie, everyone in the classroom looked over. Many boys are even more hostile to Dai Jingfeng. Dai Jingfeng chatted a few more words, but when he saw that Josie kept ignoring him, as if he didn't exist, he felt a little embarrassed. He noticed that Shilei, a careless boy, had an expression on his face that said, You must be disappointed this time. His face became even more ugly. Dai Jingfeng was very rude and said to the boy sitting in front of Josie, Who is it? Let's change seats. Who are you? Why should I change places with you? The boy replied unceremoniously. Seeing Dai Jingfeng, a student from a foreign class, come to chat with the goddess of their class, and he was so arrogant, some of the boys in the class couldn't stand it. Dai Jingfeng looked at the boy and sneered, Boy, do you know there are some people you can't afford to offend? Get out of here quickly. Yes, don't get yourself into trouble, Shilei also threatened. Seeing that Dai Jingfeng and Shilei looked like rich second-generation people who were confident, the boy was obviously a little scared, but he was so cowardly that he couldn't help but feel ashamed. He subconsciously looked at the other boys in the class, but no one was willing to step forward. At this moment, I suddenly heard someone say, "Boy, I advise you not to be too arrogant. There are some people you can't afford to offend." Dai Jingfeng turned around and found that the person speaking was a middle-aged man with a strong build and ordinary appearance. "Senior, you have quite a lot of bodyguards." He first smiled at Zhou Ziyu, and then said to Shen Basehan, "You are a bodyguard, how can you speak here?" Shen Basehan looked at him coldly. "Boy, if you dare to harass Miss Zhou again, don't blame me for being rude to you, get out of here." Seeing that a bodyguard dared to scold him, Dai Jingfeng immediately became angry. "Damn, you are quite arrogant for a bodyguard. If I won't leave, what can you do to me?" "You really don't want to leave?" Shen Basehan's face became colder and colder. "I won't." Dai Jingfeng was stopped by Shilei mid-sentence. Noticing the sharp look in Shen Basehan's eyes, he also calmed down. There is no need to have a head-on confrontation with a bodyguard, it is not worth the slightest loss. Bodyguard who doesn't have it yet. At worst, bring in more people next time to get the place back. Thinking of this, Dai Jingfeng gave Shen Basehan a "you wait" look, and then said to Shilei, "Let's go." After saying that, the two left the classroom. Seeing the other party shrinking, Shen Basehan also relaxed. If the other party keeps pestering him, even if he doesn't want to, he will have no choice but to take action. Before coming, Li Jek had ordered that no one should harass Zhou Ziyu, and that he could take action if necessary. If something goes wrong, the compensation will be 300,000 yuan a year. His children's school and his wife's job were all found by Li Jek. When things came to a head, he couldn't tolerate not taking action. The classmates in the classroom looked at Zhou Ziyu a little strangely. The two boys who came to make trouble were obviously second-generation people with backgrounds. If Zhou Ziyu's bodyguards could scare each other away, her background must not be simple. It is said that her boyfriend has a good background. Is this true? Coming out of the teaching building, Dai Jingfeng said with an ugly face, "This matter must not be left alone." Shilei glanced at him and said, "If we hadn't left just now, the other party might really dare to take action." When Dai Jingfeng heard this, his face turned even darker. He was threatened by a bodyguard. After two major classes, Zhou Ziyu drove a Lamborghini Murcielago LP640 and left with Lu Ji at 4:30 p.m. Shen Basehan followed behind in a white BMW X5. Seeing the blue Lamborghini sports car start to move, Dai Jingfeng immediately started the car and followed. "I actually changed cars," Dai Jingfeng said in a playful tone. "Yesterday, Zhou Ziyu drove a Porsche Boxster S, but today she switched to a Lamborghini Murcielago LP640. This is Zhou Ziyu's boyfriend, competing with him. That bodyguard, and this car, it seems that Zhou Ziyu's boyfriend really has some background," Shilei said. "So what, am I still afraid of him?" Dai Jingfeng said, stepped on the accelerator and chased after him. However, just when he was about to catch up with the Lamborghini, he was blocked by a white BMW. "That Dai Jingfeng is following us again." Lu Ji glanced at the rearview mirror and said. "I know," Zhou Ziyu said softly. She had already noticed Dai Jingfeng's white Ferrari. At this time, Lu Ji's cell phone rang. After we got through, we chatted for a while. After hanging up the phone, she said, "Mr. Li asked us not to go back to Beijianwan Mansion and go to Tangong Villa." After hearing this, Zhou Ziyu immediately changed direction and drove towards Changning. Dai Jingfeng, who was following behind, immediately realized that the direction was wrong, but still followed closely. He wanted to see where Zhou Ziyu was going. The Tangong Villa area on Changhong Road is even closer to the normal university, only a 10-minute drive away. Soon, Three cars came to Changhong Road. Seeing the blue Lamborghini and white BMW driving into the Tan Gong Villa area, the white Ferrari could only stop. Tan Palace, Shi Lei's voice revealed surprise. Looking at the luxurious villa area in front of him, Dai Jingfeng's expression also changed a little. This villa area is so famous in Shanghai, it is considered the #1 mansion. A villa costs 1 to 200 million. Those who can afford a villa in Tangong have a net worth of at least 1 billion. How about forget it? Shi Lei turned to Dai Jingfeng and said. He didn't say a word. He had a net worth of 1 billion or more. He was a figure of the same level as their fathers. He was not something juniors like them could afford to offend. This is causing trouble for the family. Shi Lei remembered what the bodyguard said, there are some people you cannot afford to offend. Thinking like this, he overestimated the other party's identity more and more. There are no small people living in Tan Palace. Dai Jingfeng's expression was gloomy and uncertain. He really didn't expect that Zhou Ziu's boyfriend would have such a big connection. He really cannot afford to offend billionaires. Didn't it mean that Zhou Ziu's boyfriend is a young man? Do you just give up like this? When he thought of Zhou Ziu, Dai Jingfeng felt extremely unwilling. MD, don't be scared by a villa. First touch the other person's bottom. He slapped the steering wheel fiercely. Dai Jingfeng felt that the other party was probably the second generation like them, so there was nothing to fear. Shi Lei glanced at Dai Jingfeng and shook his head inwardly. There are so many beautiful women that it would be crazy to mess with a big shot just for one woman. Shi Lei immediately decided not to contact Dai Jingfeng in the future. The reason why he calls Dai Jingfeng brother is not because he is young. On the contrary, he is 2 years older than him. It's just because the other party's family is more powerful. His family's assets of several hundred million are nothing in the Shanghai stock market. If his father knew that he had provoked the people who lived in Tan Palace, the beatings would be minor. If he thought that he would only cause trouble and could not be brought up, he would be in real trouble. You must know that his father is more than just his son. Of course, the same goes for Dai Jingfeng. Kudong Group, President's Office. After listening to Shen Baihan's report and hanging up the phone, Li Zhe's face immediately turned cold. Showing Tangong Villa was enough to scare the other party. However, this matter must not be forgotten easily. The second-generation cheater must be taught a profound lesson to prevent blind people from bullying him again in the future. It seems that people still can't be too low-key. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 356. The blue Lamborghini Murcielago LP640 stopped in front of a Florentine-style villa in Italy. Italy is a country that is poor at war, but its level of architecture and art is very high. This Florentine-style villa has a classical and elegant appearance. After spending 125 million yuan to buy this villa in January this year, Li Zhe hired a well-known designer to design a decoration plan and worked for half a year. The decoration was completed by the end of July and is currently being ventilated. Zhou Ziu only visited this villa once with Li Zhe, Xiaoqiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi, but not after the decoration. At that time, the villa was still in rough shape and very simple, so her senses were not good. It felt a bit like the abandoned villa in the movie. There are several luxury homes under Li Zhe's name, including Tan Palace Villa, Ziwan Villa, Beijing Bay Mansion, and Sanya Seaview Villa. What Zhou Ziu likes most is the Beijing Wan Mansion. However, when she opened the door and walked into the villa, she was shocked. The interior decoration and furniture decoration of the villa are of the same origin, and they all adopt the Lorenzo style, combined with the fashion of modern furniture. Classical, elegant, noble, and extremely luxurious, it is far beyond what the Platinum Bay Mansion can compare to. This villa cost more than 30 million just to decorate. Zhou Ziu felt like walking into a palace. She had followed Li Zhe for more than a year and felt that she had gained enough experience. but now she found that she still had not experienced enough. Not only Zhou Ziyu, but also Lu Ji and Shen Baishan who walked in behind were shocked. They all know that the boss Li Jie is very rich and a billionaire, but they don't have a clear idea. It can be seen that after seeing this villa, I understand the luxury of the rich. It's not something ordinary people can imagine. If they hadn't followed Li Jie, they would never have seen it in their lifetime. Zhou Ziyu walked up the spiral staircase, from the first floor to the third floor, looking at every room. The more I look at her, the more I like her. Moreover, this villa is only 15 or 6 minutes drive from the normal university, so it was simply prepared for her. If Xiao Qiao knew that she thought so, he would definitely tell her, shameless. Arriving at the large terrace on the third floor, Zhou Ziyu looked to the southeast and saw the neighboring Zijiao Hotel. The lush woods, grassland, and Swan Lake were as far as the eye could see. Sharing the scenery with Zijiao Hotel, this location is really hard to say. After blowing in the wind and admiring the scenery for a while, Zhou Ziyu turned around and said to Shen Baishan, "Master Shen, please go and buy some ingredients. She is not ready to leave, so she will stay here tonight." At around 6 p.m., Li Jie drove an Audi A8L into Tan Palace. In Sandalwood Villa District, you can drive to Hongqiao International Airport in 5 minutes to the west, Sujiawai and Huihei Road business districts in about 10 minutes to the east, and downtown areas such as Jiangning Road and the Bund in 20 minutes. The location cannot be said. The villa has an automatic sensor door. When Li Jie's car arrives, the door opens automatically. Parking the car in the yard, Li Jie got out of the car, opened the door and walked into the villa. As soon as she entered the villa, she saw Zhou Ziyu in a long blue dress walking down the stairs. She was beautiful, sexy, elegant, and full of hostess style. "Honey, you're back," she said with a slight smile. Li Jie looked at her and thought that his little lover was becoming more and more like a celebrity. Not the fake socialites who created the Zixi version in later generations, but real celebrities. "Husband, Master Shen hasn't come back from purchasing ingredients yet. We'll have to eat later." Li Jie glanced at the floor-length dress she was wearing and said, "Stop working, let's go to the hotel to eat tonight. It's very convenient to eat here. It's right next to the 5-star Zijiao Hotel. If you don't want to cook, you can always go to the hotel to eat. However, even if you are not a wealthy person, you cannot afford to eat in 5-star hotels every day." Li Jie helped Zhou Ziyu hold up her skirt, and the two of them left the villa together and got into the Lamborghini Murcielago LP640. He drove out of the villa area and came to the adjacent Zijiao Hotel. Went into the restaurant and asked for a small private room. They ordered a few special dishes and the two of them had a simple meal without drinking. While eating, Zhou Ziyu received a call from Zhou Qing. She went to the Beijinwan mansion, but found that no one was there. After dinner, Li Jie and Zhou Ziyu went to the bowling alley to play. There are many entertainments in Zijiao Hotel, including cafes, bars, discotheques, karaoke rooms, fitness rooms, tennis courts, etc. All common entertainment facilities are available. Li Jie has only played bowling a few times, and his skills are far inferior to those of Zhou Ziyu. He found that Zhou Ziyu was really smart and learned everything quickly. In fact, she can live a good life even if she doesn't rely on a man. After a while, Zhou Qing came. "Xiao, Xiaojie." And the three of them played bowling together. Li Jie stopped playing after 2 games and watched Zhou Qing and Zhou Ziyu, mother and daughter, play. Zhou Ziyu's playing posture is also very elegant and pleasing to the eye. After playing bowling for more than 2 hours, at around 9 p.m., the three of them left the Zijiao Hotel and returned to the Sandalwood Villa together. As soon as she walked out of the villa, Zhou Qing was shocked. Looking around, she felt like her eyes were not full. "Xiaojie, your villa is too luxurious." She finally understands what it means to marry into a wealthy family. This is really a wealthy family. Li Jie smiled at her and said, Auntie, don't leave either, stay here tonight. This villa has 6 suite bedrooms. Li Jie, Xiaoqiao, Zhouziu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi each have one room, and one room is left as a guest room. Okay, Zhou Qing agreed immediately. She didn't want to leave in the first place. How could she be willing to stay in such a top-notch mansion for just one night? Xiaojie, where is the kitchen? I'll make you some soup. Stew. When Zhouziu heard this, she was shocked. She was going to suffer again tonight. Her mother would cheat her if she had nothing to do. Zhou Qing went to the kitchen, and Zhouziu also went upstairs to take a shower. Honey, I'm going to take a shower. Xiao, Li Jie called her. You accompany me to do some exercise first. After the exercise is over, we will take a shower together. Sports. He was too impatient. However, when she and Li Jie came to the basement gym together, Zhouziu realized that he really wanted to exercise. Li Jie glanced at her with a smile. Xiao, didn't you think wrong just now? Zhouziu didn't understand. What are you thinking? Li Jie looked at her and felt funny. His little lover was pretty good at pretending. She subconsciously wanted to go upstairs just now, but her thinking was obviously wrong. His bedroom is on the 2nd floor. This gym covers hundreds of square meters and has basic fitness equipment such as treadmills, spinning bikes, bench presses, etc. Li Jiaxian and Zhouziu ran on the treadmill for a while to warm up. Then let her help you do exercises. Doing exercise is a boring thing, but having a beautiful woman by your side will make you more motivated. If you have some special rewards, it will be even more motivation. For example, when doing sit-ups, every time Li Jie does one, Zhouziu will give him a kiss as encouragement. In this way, after an hour of exercise, Li Jie not only did not feel tired, but also felt a little unfinished. After sweating a lot from the exercise, Li Jie and Zhouziu went upstairs to the bathroom to take a shower together. By the time I finished taking a shower, it was already 10 p.m. Coming out of the bathroom, Li Jie carried Zhouziu to the sofa in the living room and sat down, letting her sit on his lap. Zhouziu's charming face was rosy and she leaned lazily in his arms, her body sore and weak. In the bathroom just now, she was exhausted from rubbing Li Jie's back. Li Jie looked at the large open living room and felt it was a bit too spacious. This villa is too big, with a usable area of more than 1,600 square meters above ground and underground. With fewer people, it would seem too deserted. When Xiaoqiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi all move in, it should be more lively if the 5 of them live together. Xiaojie, come and have some soup. Zhou Qing brought out 2 bowls of soup from the kitchen. She was not surprised to see the two hugging each other. Thank you, Auntie. Li Jie took the soup and drank it. Xiao, you have a bowl too, it's good for you too. Zhou Qing handed another bowl of soup to Zhouziu. Is it good for her too? Zhouziu glanced at Zhou Qing, who looked mysterious and a little confused. This soup has a strong medicinal taste. Li Jie commented in his mind while drinking the soup. After drinking the bowl of hot soup, he felt warm all over. Just when he was about to take Zhouziu to the master bedroom to let her experience the feeling of being a mistress, Zhou Qing called her away. Xiao, come here, I have something to tell you. The two of them came to the guest bedroom together. Zhouziu glanced at Zhou Qing and said, Mom, what do you want from me? Xiao, do you know what I gave you two to drink? What? Zhouziu said nonchalantly. Sen sun soup. Seeing that Zhouziu was not pregnant, Zhou Qing was even more anxious than she was. An opportunity to marry into a wealthy family was right in front of her, but her daughter couldn't grasp it. She only hated that she only had one daughter. If she had another daughter, and the sisters would go into battle together, the chances would be even greater. Sen sun soup. Zhouziu's heart moved after hearing this. "Mom, does this remedy of yours work?" she said a little doubtfully. Zhou Qing said confidently, "Of course it works. Have you experienced the effects of my medicinal wine? You and Xiaoji just need to work harder tonight." When Zhou Qing mentioned medicinal wine, Zhou Ziyu's face looked a little strange. She has never drunk medicinal wine, how can she experience its effects? She experiences it passively. However, she has some confidence in this gift soup. That night, Li Jie found that his little lover was particularly active and enthusiastic, as if he wanted to. Even though she was exhausted, she gritted her teeth and held on until she was completely exhausted and fell asleep. Zhou Ziyu was so tired that she slept until dawn. When she woke up, she found that it was already past 9 o'clock and Li Jie had already gone to the company. Sitting up from the bed, Zhou Ziyu felt that her whole body was sore and weak, as if she was about to fall apart, and her waist was even more sore. Li Jie's bad taste came back last night. He went through a lot of effort to please and seduce her. Fortunately, hard work paid off, and she seized all 4 opportunities. In addition, last night was a risk period and there was a baby soup, so there was a high chance that she would become pregnant. I'm pregnant now, and when I get the certificate in October, I haven't shown my pregnancy yet, so it won't affect wearing a wedding dress or holding a wedding at all. Thinking like this, Zhou Ziyu reached out and touched her belly, and couldn't help but smile on her face. It's late anyway, so let's get some sleep. Zhou Ziyu was too lazy to go to class. She stretched lazily and lay down again. After class in the afternoon, Zhou Ziyu and Lu Ji followed the flow of people and walked out of the teaching building together. Just when she was about to pick up the car and leave, someone else stopped her. "What are you doing here again? Still want to cause trouble?" When she found out that it was the boy who harassed Zhou Ziyu with Dai Jingfen yesterday, Lu Ji immediately stood up. Seeing Lu Ji's wary look, she quickly explained, "Writer Zhou, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to cause trouble for you, I'm here to apologize." Zhou Ziyu glanced at the other party and said calmly, "Apologize? Are you speaking for yourself, or for both of you?" "I only represent myself. In fact, Dai Jingfen and I are not very familiar." "Okay, I understand." Zhou Ziyu nodded. After saying that, she walked around the other party and continued walking forward. "Nu. Did you accept his apology or not?" Looking at Zhou Ziyu's back, she chased after him again and said sincerely, "Writer Zhou, I'm here to apologize sincerely, and I'm here to tell you that Dai Jingfen doesn't seem to have given up yet." After hearing the second half of the other party's words, Zhou Ziyu stopped and said, "This matter has nothing to do with you, so I don't take it to heart." Hearing what she said, she breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile, "Writer Zhou, thank you for your understanding. My name is Shilei. I'm from the Conservatory of Music. There's quite a bit of energy in this university town. If it's a small matter, just give me your orders." "Okay," Zhou Ziyu smiled and nodded. "Writer Zhou, I won't disturb you anymore, let's go first." After saying that, Shilei left. "A raccoon dog of the same breed," Zhou Ziyu said softly. "Tsuyu, what did you say?" Lu Ji asked. "Nothing." Zhou Ziyu knew very well that the other party would come to apologize to her entirely because Li Jie was behind her. Otherwise, such a playboy would never take her seriously. Being too beautiful without the strength to protect yourself is a sin in itself. When she was in high school, she got close to Zhou Yiyang, mainly to seek asylum. Zhou Ziyu was very lucky to have met Li Jie so early. Someone to rely on and protect. Driving a blue Maserati and leaving normal university, Shilei was secretly glad that he came to apologize. This Zhou Ziyu has such a good temperament. The background of the man behind this kind of woman is definitely not small. It seems that this boy Dai Jingfen is going to be in trouble. Thinking that Dai Jingfen was going to be unlucky, Shilei couldn't help but feel a little happy. The other party relied on his family's greater power to boss him around. Hongcheng Normal University, Girls' Dormitory. Xiao Jiao is doing English exercises. Already in her junior year, she is preparing for the postgraduate entrance examination. However, what she did was absent-mindedly. Xiao Jiao felt extremely uneasy when he thought of Zhou Hu, staying alone with Li Jie. Today is Wednesday, September 2nd. In one day, she can return to Shanghai on the 4th. At this time, Lu Li and Shen Man looked at each other, and then Lu Li said, "Xiao Jiao, Xiao Man, and I have something to ask you." "What's the matter?" Xiao Jiao came back to his senses and asked. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn." Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 357. Shen Man said, "After the National Day, won't we have to do internships? Xiao Jiao, can you help us ask Li Jie if he can go to Kudong Group for an internship?" For internships in the junior year, students can find their own units or wait for arrangements from the school. There are good and bad units designated by the school. If you want to go to a good unit, you need to find someone, have a trust relationship, and give some gifts. Lu Li, Shen Man, and others are fine as undergraduates. Many vocational colleges will send students to factory assembly lines for internships. It is said to be an internship, but in fact it is squeezing students' labor force. After hearing this, Xiao Jiao looked at Lu Li and Shen Man and said, "Let me ask you. His company has limited internship places, so it may not be possible." In the past 2 days, many classmates and friends in the class asked Xiao Jiao for help and wanted to intern at Kudong Group. Xiao Jiao basically declined these requests politely, even if he offended some people. She understood very well that even if she couldn't help Li Jie, she could at least not cause trouble for him. However, Lu Li is different from Shen Man. He is her roommate and has a relatively good relationship, so it is difficult to shirk. In fact, not only Xiao Jiao, but also many people blamed Lu Kaiyu. Everyone in the school knows that she is Li Jie's secretary, and the relationship between the two is very unusual. Hearing what Xiao Jiao said, Lu Li and Shen Man both showed joy on their faces. "Xiao Jiao, thank you so much." As long as Xiao Jiao is willing to speak, how could Li Jie not agree to this trivial matter? Regardless of whether the units assigned by the school are good or bad, they don't get any salary, and they still have to repay them. And if you can go to Kudong Company for an internship, you will not only get a salary, but you can also have fun in the Shanghai stock market. More importantly, with an internship experience, you have a greater chance of joining Kudong Group after graduation. Kudong Group is located in a first-tier big city like Shanghai, with high wages, good benefits, and great development prospects. It is one of the best choices for students of Teachers College. However, it is now difficult to get into Kudong Company. Recruitment requirements are getting higher and higher, and many good positions are only open to one person. An ordinary secondary school like Hongcheng Normal University would not be competitive at all if it were not Li Jie's alma mater. "What are you talking about?" Zhang Yu came back. She had a smile on her face and was in a great mood. Zhang Yu has been very proud of himself recently. He can earn 7,000 to 8,000 yuan every month by making short videos. Not long ago, when I was doing a live broadcast, I also met a rich second-generation man from Shanghai, the eldest brother on the list. He often gave her rewards and invited her to play in Shanghai. "We are talking about internship," Lu Li said. "Practice." Zhang Yu said proudly, "I don't need an internship." "Why don't you have an internship?" The speaker was Zhang Qian, who walked in from outside with Bai Wei holding a bath basket. They had just finished taking a shower in the bathroom. Zhang Yu glanced at Zhang Qian and said, "I am half an employee of Kudong Short Video. I just need to take the internship report to the company and get it stamped. I don't need to actually practice. She is now making short videos and live broadcasts, and can earn tens of thousands of yuan every month, so how can she waste a few months to get an internship? Zhang Qian, behave well during your internship. Zhang Qian glared at her angrily. She couldn't stand the other person's complacency. Shen Man said, Xiao Qian, why don't you ask Xiao Jiao to help talk to Li Jie to see if you can go to Kudong Group for an internship? Zhang Qian was obviously moved after hearing this. She also wanted to ask Xiao Jiao for help, but was too embarrassed to ask. Xiao Jiao looked at Zhang Qian and said proactively, Xiao Qian, let me ask for you too. Xiao Jiao, thank you, Zhang Qian said a little embarrassed. Shen Man said to Bai Wei again, Sister Wei, you must also go to Kudong Group for an internship, right? If not, the four of us rent a house together. We can save money on rent and take care of each other. Zhang Yu said disapprovingly, Sister Wei doesn't need to rent a house. When I arrive in Shanghai, I can live directly in the short video studio, let alone Sister Wei. Lu Li and Shen Man were very envious after hearing this. They can make a lot of money by making short videos and have good benefits. It's a pity that they all look average and are not suitable for short videos. On Friday, September 4th, after class in the morning, Xiao Jiao took a plane to Shanghai. On Monday, September 7th, when Li Jie woke up early in the morning, he felt Xiao Jiao hugging him tightly like an octopus. After Xiao Jiao came back from Hongcheng, she found that Zhou Ziyu had moved into the sandalwood villa while she was away. She became jealous and quickly moved in. She also dominated Li Jie for 2 days. Even though she was bullied to death by him, she refused to let go and asked for help. Pa, Li Jie slapped Xiao Jiao's little butt. Honey, why did you hit me? Xiao Jiao was woken up by the beating. She touched the area where she was hit and said with dissatisfaction. It's time to get up, Li Jie said with a smile. Xiao Jiao has a little hobby and doesn't like to wear underwear when sleeping. He quite liked her little quirk. Then you go to the company, I will sleep for a while. Xiao Jiao let go of him and closed his eyes again. She was tortured badly last night, and she was still very tired now. Pa, Li Jie hit him again. Why are you hitting me again? Seeing that Li Jie was addicted to beatings, Xiao Jiao covered the area where he was hit and said angrily. Stop sleeping, get up and go to the company with me. Li Jie said funny. Why should I go to the company? Xiao Jiao said reluctantly. She just wants to sleep now. Of course something happened, Li Jie said. After hearing what he said, Xiao Jiao had no choice but to get up lazily. After washing and having breakfast, Li Jie changed into formal clothes and asked Xiao Jiao to change into secretary clothes. After getting in the car, he said to Xiao Jiao, Jiao Bao, there is an auction in the morning. Please go with me. Xiao Jiao was feeling sleepy, and immediately became energetic when he heard, auction. What are we going to shoot? Let's go shoot the land. Li Jie had long thought about acquiring a piece of land to build a new company headquarters building. However, it is not easy to get land in Shanghai. Not only is the competition huge, but you also have to wait for opportunities. It was only recently that a suitable piece of land came up for auction. Shen Baishan drove the Audi A8L towards Huangpu. More than half an hour later, he arrived at the Public Resources Auction Center. Li Jie took out the relevant documents for participating in the bidding, received the bidding card and admission ticket, and then walked into the auction venue with Xiao Jiao. There were many people at the auction venue. There were more than 30 companies participating in the auction today, and most of them were real estate companies. In addition, many media came to the scene. Li Jie and Xiao Jiao found the designated seats and sat down. Xiao Jiao looked around and was very surprised. Seeing the two people coming in, many people in the venue cast curious glances. Those who came to participate in the auction were all CEOs and directors of major companies. Most of them were in their 40s or 50s, and those in their 30s were considered young. He is the only one as young as Li Jie, and he also has a beautiful female secretary. In addition, most of the people in these real estate companies are familiar with each other, only Li Jie looks strange. A middle-aged man sitting next to Li Jie said friendly, "Brother, which company do you work for?" Li Jie took a look at the other person. He was in his 40s, with a somewhat stout figure, and a shrewd energy in his eyes. "Kudong Group, Li Jie." When the middle-aged man heard this, he showed a surprised expression. Obviously he had heard of Li Jie. "It turns out to be Mr. Li. I am Chen Xiangming from Donghua Investment." As he spoke, he stretched out his hand. Li Jie also stretched out his hand and shook the other person's hand. "Hello, Mr. Chen." Chen Xiangming looked at the extremely young Li Jie and said with emotion from the bottom of his heart, "Mr. Li is really young and promising. No, Mr. Chen deserves the award, but I'm still far behind," Li Jie said modestly. After a few pleasantries, Chen Xiangming asked, "Mr. Li is also planning to enter the real estate industry. Nowadays, real estate is booming and everyone is building buildings. It is not uncommon for game developers to switch careers to real estate. I don't have that plan, I just want to use a piece of land to build a company building," Li Jie said. When Chen Xiangming heard this, he didn't care. He came to bid for a piece of residential land, and there was no competition with Li Jie. Li Jie also exchanged greetings with the people around him. Most of these people are the owners and professional managers of real estate companies. They may seem ordinary, but in fact, all of them are wealthy. At 9 o'clock, the auction officially began. The auction this time includes 4 pieces of residential land, 1 piece of commercial and residential land, and 2 pieces of commercial land. The host first introduced the location, area, use, planning requirements, and other relevant matters of the first residential land, and then announced the starting price. Seeing 7 or 8 real estate companies competing for a piece of residential land of more than 14,000 square meters, raising the price from more than 200 million to more than 400 million, Li Jie finally learned how fierce the competition for land in Shanghai is. Fortunately, building office buildings does not make money from building residential buildings, otherwise it would be really difficult for him to get the land. These real estate companies are so rich. Finally, the land was acquired by a well-known real estate company. This company is also quite famous in later generations, and there have been incidents of cheating on the part of senior executives. After shooting one scene, I rested for a while and then started shooting the second piece of residential land. The competition was more intense this time, with more than a dozen companies bidding. When he heard the bidding of a company called Shenzhen Real Estate, Li Jie's eyes fell on the man holding the placard. The other person looks like he is in his early 40s, not tall and thin, but very powerful. Li Jie guessed in his heart that this should be Dai Zongheng, the chairman of Shenzhen Real Estate. He just read the information of this group yesterday. Dai Zongheng graduated from Aurora University and started his career in the clothing, textile and other industries, and then moved to the real estate market and industrial investment. The company he founded, Shenzhen Real Estate, currently has assets of over 1 billion. However, Dai Zongheng is a very low-key person. There is very little information about him on the internet, not even a photo. Li Jie shook his head inwardly. How could such a low-key person have such an arrogant and cheating son? The reason why he investigated Shenzhen Real Estate was because Dai Zongheng had a young son named Dai Jingfeng. More than an hour later, 4 pieces of residential land and 1 piece of commercial and residential land were all auctioned. Among them, a piece of land of more than 30,000 square meters was auctioned for more than 1.2 billion, setting the highest price in the auction. In addition, the second piece of land was acquired by Shenzhen Real Estate. After another rest, the host began to auction 2 pieces of commercial land again. One of them, a piece of land of more than 9,000 square meters located in Pudong New area, is Li Zhe's target. The location of this piece of land seems a little out of the way now, but from the perspective of future generations, it is excellent. What's more important is that the nearby environment is good and the price is not expensive. Competition for commercial land was far less intense than for residential land, with only 4 or 5 companies bidding. Li Zhe asked Xiao Jiao to raise the price several times. When the price reached 121 million, no one finally bid. The host asked 3 times in a row. When no one bid again, he announced that Kudong Group had won the land. When the auction ended, Li Zhe and Xiao Jiao followed the flow of people and walked out of the auction venue. After seeing Dai Zongheng and others who had already walked away, he said goodbye to Chen Xiangming and other real estate company owners he had just met, and then got in the car and left. After getting in the car, Li Zhe glanced at Xiao Jiao. She was still a little excited. Just for raising a card once, the price increased by hundreds or tens of millions, which is really exciting. How about I take you back to the villa to rest? After hearing this, Xiao Jiao did not answer directly, but instead asked, "Hubby, where are you going?" "I'm going to the company." "Then I will accompany you to the company," Xiao Jiao said with a smile. "Are you not sleepy anymore?" Li Zhe asked. "Not so sleepy now." Xiao Jiao is in a good mood now, and her little dissatisfaction with being spanked by Li Zhe in the morning has long gone. Li Zhe chose her to take him to such an important occasion as the land auction, which obviously proved that in his heart, she, his real girlfriend, was the most important thing. It's not something that Zhou Huixu, the mistress, can compare to. A mistress can always be a mistress. Do you really think that by taking the opportunity to climb into the master bedroom, you are the mistress? Daydreaming. Li Zhe did not take Xiao Jiao directly to the company, but took her to dinner first. It's already 12 o'clock, it's time to have lunch. Audi A8L stopped in front of a restaurant with avant-garde and fashionable decoration. 2 young girls in black clothes and white aprons, dressed as maids, stood at the door of the restaurant. When they saw Li Zhe and Xiao Jiao walking over, they bowed and shouted at the same time, "Welcome. This is a maid specialty restaurant." In 2009, maid restaurants were still relatively new. This restaurant is also the first maid cafe restaurant in Shanghai. Li Zhe accidentally saw the news about the opening of this restaurant on the internet, and wanted to come and experience it. In fact, he really had no interest in the maid restaurant. "Mainly I want to bring Xiao Jiao to experience and learn. Next time, I will bring Zhouziu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi over to experience and learn." Entering the restaurant, Li Zhe looked around. This restaurant basically imitated a Japanese maid restaurant. The decoration of the store is very avant-garde, and there are many comic books and figurines on the shelves. Petite maids can be seen everywhere, walking briskly, carrying plates, teaching guests how to play games or chatting with them. The only fly in the ointment is that the maids are not pretty enough, most of them have average looks, and only a few are pretty good. Li Zhe found a seat by the window and sat down with Xiao Jiao. There is a small reminder sign on the dining table, "Master, you are not allowed to have direct contact with my Tui. Master, you are not allowed to ask my Tuo for her contact information privately," etc. Maido is the transliteration of maid. It was done quite professionally. Li Zhe commented in his heart. A maid named Xiao Wu came over to serve the 2 of them. She has good looks, is pretty and sweet, and her maid uniform is black and white, exquisite and well fitted. Plus, she has a master-like voice and a cooing voice, which is indeed very attractive to young boys. After ordering the meal and waiting for Xiao Wu to leave, Li Zhe glanced at Xiao Jiao and asked, "What do you think of this restaurant?" "Not bad, quite interesting." This is also Xiao Jiao's first time to come to this kind of restaurant, which is quite novel. "Then you should study hard," Li Zhe said. Study what? Xiao Jiao was a little confused. Li Jie glanced at a maid walking by and said with a smile, they are all professionals. When Xiao Jiao heard this, he immediately reacted. Learn to be a maid. She gave him a cute look, her little expression was particularly cute. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 358. After a while, the maid Xiao Wu came over carrying a dinner plate. Xiao Jiao glanced at Li Jie, a look of guilt suddenly appeared on his face. Brother-in-law, do you think we are worthy of my sister? Xiao Wu came to the dining table and was about to put down the plate. When she heard this, her movements immediately stopped. Li Jie was also stunned for a moment, noticing Xiao Wu's strange expression, and looked at Xiao Jiao with cunning eyes, and couldn't help but feel a little funny. He only played with her once about the joke between his brother-in-law and his sister-in-law, but he didn't expect that she still remembered it. Li Jie sighed lightly, took Xiao Jiao's little hand and held it gently. There's nothing we can do about it. What else will happen to our child? He said, glancing at her belly. Originally, Xiao Wu's expression had returned to normal. She put down her plate and was getting coffee for the two of them. When she heard what he said, her hand holding the coffee cup couldn't help shaking, and a few drops of coffee spilled out. She hurriedly apologized and said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. She was probably so panicked not only because she spilled her coffee, but also because the gossip she heard was so exciting. It does not matter. Li Jie smiled and explained, don't take it seriously, we are joking. No, no, Xiao Wu said hurriedly. However, judging from her expression, it was obvious that she didn't believe his explanation. After Xiao Wu left with a strange look on his face, Li Jie gave Xiao Jiao a funny look and said, it's fun, right? This means that self-media is not yet developed, otherwise he would really not dare to play like this in public. Otherwise, if someone takes a photo and posts it online, it might be misinterpreted. It was you who played with me first, Xiao Jiao said with an angry smile. The night before yesterday, when Xiao Jiao came over to beg to be bullied, Li Jie pushed her away with a look of embarrassment and said, don't be like this, I am your brother-in-law, and we cannot be sorry to your sister. Xiao Jiao was stunned by him. Li Jie glanced at Xiao Jiao while drinking coffee and eating. Beautiful, smart, and cute, good at playing, open-minded and not jealous, she is definitely a boy's ideal girlfriend. The only flaw is. Thinking this, Li Jie's eyes moved downward. Unremarkable. What are you looking at? Xiao Jiao noticed his gaze. Nothing, Li Jie said. Xiao Jiao glanced at him and snorted a little dissatisfied. When they first got together, who said that Ping liked Ping the most? Now I dislike her again. Scumbag. After dinner, Li Jie brought Xiao Jiao to the company. As soon as they entered the office, Lu Kaiu, Zhuang Qian, and Zheng Shan stood up when they saw Li Jie coming. Mr. Li. They are all dressed in OL and black stockings, which are extremely eye-catching. Li Jie smiled and nodded to them, his eyes lingered on Lu Kaiu for a moment, and then he and Xiao Jiao entered the inner office. After taking off his suit jacket and tie, Li Jie turned to Xiao Jiao and said, Jiao Bao, you. Noticing the expectant expression on her face, he was stunned for a moment. What is the president thinking about? Is he the kind of person who is ridiculous, impatient, and messes around in the office? I have something to be busy with. Please stay by yourself for a while. If you feel sleepy, just take a nap on the sofa. Oh, Xiao Jiao looked a little disappointed after hearing this. Li Jie looked at it and felt secretly amused. Since she wanted to be bullied so much, she would satisfy her request after he was done. Sitting down behind the desk, he picked up the file and read it. Xiao Jiao was a little idle and walked around the office quietly. Then he came to the large French window and looked at the scenery outside for a while. She left the window and sat down on the sofa. She looked at Li Jie, who was working. I think he looks very handsome when he is focused on his work. After staring at Li Jie for a while, Xiao Qiao felt sleepy, so he leaned on the sofa and fell asleep slowly. More than an hour later, Li Jie had almost finished processing the documents. He moved his shoulders and glanced at Xiao Qiao, who was sleeping soundly on the sofa. Decided to let her go for now and let her sleep a little longer. Boom. At this time, someone knocked on the door outside. Li Jie stood up and came to the door, opened it, and saw Lu Kaiu standing outside with 2 cups of coffee. She usually didn't knock on the door, but now she knocked, obviously because she suspected that he was having sex with Xiao Qiao, and was afraid that she would see something she shouldn't. Li Jie let her in. After Lu Kaiu came in, she noticed that Xiao Qiao was asleep on the sofa. Xiao Qiao is asleep. Yeah, Li Jie picked up a cup of coffee and took a sip. He didn't like drinking coffee much at first, but Lu Kaiu often made him coffee. The more he drank, the more he gradually got used to it. Lu Kaiu put another cup of coffee on the desk, took the tray and prepared to go out. Then I'll go out first. Don't leave in a hurry yet. Li Jie stopped her, put down his coffee, picked up the curtain remote control on the table, and pressed it. The curtains on the floor-to-ceiling windows automatically closed slowly, and the office environment suddenly became dark. Honey, why are you pulling the curtains? Lu Kaiu clearly realized something. Li Jie smiled, stretched out his hand and took her into his arms. His long-legged secretary was obviously a little jealous and came in to check on him and Xiao Qiao under the pretext of delivering coffee. As a good and responsible man, he must help her get rid of her jealousy. Husband, don't do this. Xiao Qiao is still here, don't wake her up, Lu Kaiu said with some resistance. She was still not used to being intimate with Li Jie in front of other girls, even when Xiao Qiao fell asleep. Li Jie put her on the office floor and lowered his head to kiss her. Li Jie, don't do this. At this time, Xiao Qiao woke up on the sofa and said angrily, what are you two doing? Before 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Li Jie took Xiao Qiao and Lu Kaiu and left the company together. Back at the villa, Li Jie found that Zhou Ziyu had also finished his classes and returned from school. She sat on the sofa and watched TV. Where's Xinyi? Li Jie asked. She's in the room. Zhou Ziyu came up to Li Jie as usual and helped Li Jie take off his coat and get his slippers. Honey, whatever you want to eat tonight, I'll make it for you. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 359. Xiao Qiao glanced at Zhou Ziyu and couldn't help but slander her, I know how to be attentive and show off. When it comes to serving people, she was thrown out by Zhou Ziyu for 7 or 8 blocks. But when it comes to serving people, she has a slight advantage. Stop it, let's go to the hotel to eat together tonight, Li Jie said. After saying that, he went to Shen Xinyi's room. Shen Xinyi no longer works as Li Jie's secretary. At the end of May, she took the junior college to undergraduate examination, and the result was no surprise, she failed. I failed to get a bachelor's degree, and I only have the last year of my junior year left, which is basically equivalent to graduation. Shen Xinyi doesn't have a clear plan for what to do in the future. She worked as a secretary next to Li Jie, and could only do the work of making tea and pouring water, and then stayed up in boredom. At Li Jie's suggestion, Shen Xinyi decided to make a short video for a while. At present, she has more than 7 million fans on the Kudong platform, and her popularity is second only to Zhao Minjiao. Li Jie pushed the door open and walked into Shen Xinyi's room. He saw that she was working on video editing seriously. She was so focused that she didn't notice him coming in. He stood behind Shen Xinyi and watched her edit the video. Shen Xinyi mainly makes imitation videos. Imitate classic scenes from film and television dramas. Her video imitates the scenes of Zixuan in Sword and Sword 3. Husband, you are back. It wasn't until he finished cutting the video and stretched lazily that Shen Xinyi noticed Li Zhe's arrival. "What a great performance," Li Zhe commented with a smile. "This Shen Guiguai is really talented in acting." "I'm just acting for fun," Shen Xian said with a smile. "Change your clothes and we'll go out to eat as soon as we go," Li Zhe said and glanced at the bath towel on her body. She must have just taken a shower and was only wearing a bath towel. "Yeah," Shen Xian nodded after hearing this. "My dear, what do you think I'm doing?" Li Zhe noticed her staring at him. "Husband, get out. What am I doing out there? How can I change my clothes if you don't go out? That's it? It's not like I haven't seen you before, darling, why are you pushing me?" After being pushed out of the door by Shen Xian, Li Zhe shook his head lightly in his heart. The two of them have been in contact with each other countless times at a distance. Why should they be embarrassed if they change their clothes? Changing clothes is a time-consuming thing for girls. Li Zhe waited for almost 40 minutes before Xiao Qiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi put on makeup and changed clothes and came out of the room one after another. I saw that each of them was very beautifully dressed. Li Zhe sighed inwardly. He was just going to have a meal and not attend a dinner party. How could he be dressed up so beautifully? He found that their competition has become a bit fierce recently, and they want to compete with each other in everything. "Honey, how are you? Does it look good?" Xiao Qiao shook it in front of him and said with a smile. She was wearing a beautiful black dress. "Yes, it looks good, but I'd better change it." "Why?" "After dinner, we have to play ball together." "How can you exercise in such a dress?" After hearing what Li Zhe said, Xiao Qiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi looked at each other and then went back to the room to change clothes. But this time it was much faster, and they were all finished in less than 10 minutes. Seeing that the four of them had changed into neat sportswear and had their hair tied up, Li Zhe nodded with satisfaction. "Okay, let's go." The five of them left the villa together. Without driving, Li Zhe took them on foot to the Zijiao Hotel. It's only a few hundred meters away anyway, so there's no need to drive. Besides, if they were driving, they would definitely compete for the co-pilot position. Why do we always have to fight? How nice it is for everyone to live in harmony. When they arrived at the Zijiao Hotel, the five of them went to the Chinese restaurant to eat first, and then went to the tennis court after the meal. Li Zhe only started playing tennis recently, and his skills can only be said to be barely good. Many rich people like golf. Li Zhe has played it a few times, but he is not very interested. He still thinks tennis is more interesting. What's more, playing tennis is more physical exercise. Which of you can play tennis? I can play a little bit, Lu Kaiyu said with a smile. The normal college has swimming pools, tennis courts and other facilities. She likes sports and will go swimming and playing ball when she has time. Not only can she play tennis, she can also play basketball, badminton, etc., and she can basically play common sports. Among them, she plays volleyball best. I can also play a little bit, Zhou Ziyu followed. Since transferring to Shanghai, during holidays, she often plays around with Yu Xiangzi and enjoys life. Tennis, swimming, bowling, golf, etc., there is no common sport that she has not played. She recently started playing pottery again. Xiao Qiao and Shen Xinyi both shook their heads. Neither of them knew how to play tennis. Xiao Qiao is a homebody, and she doesn't particularly like sports. She only plays badminton occasionally. By the way, except for healthy aerobic exercise, which she particularly likes. As for Shen Xinyi, her hobby is eating, not delicious food. If you have nothing to do, go shopping and see where there is delicious food. Li Zhe has been in Shanghai for more than a year and a half, and he doesn't know where to find special food, but Shen Xinyi is very knowledgeable. "Qiao Bao, darling, let me teach you two how to fight first." After saying that, Li Jie began to teach Xiao Qiao and Shen Xinyi how to hold the racket, how to bounce the ball, shoot the ball, etc. Lu Kaiyu withdrew her gaze from Li Jie and the others, and turned to Zhou Ziyu. Ziyu, how about we have a fight first? Okay, Zhou Ziyu nodded. There is a bit of competition between them. Lu Kaiyu added, just playing ball is no fun, why don't we make some bets? What do you want to bet on? Zhou Ziyu asked. Whoever loses, give up a chance, Lu Kaiyu said and glanced at Li Jie. Okay, no problem. Zhou Ziyu also glanced at Li Jie, nodded. She could see that Lu Kaiyu was very confident in her tennis skills. However, she is also confident in her skills. After saying that, the two were ready to fight. Should you two also seek my opinion? Li Jie couldn't help but speak. What do they mean? How could you use him as a bet? He is not a tool man. Zhou Ziyu and Lu Kaiyu looked at each other, and then said to him at the same time, you have no right to express your opinion. After saying that, they both laughed. The two played guessing games to decide who would serve first, and Lu Kaiyu won. Lu Kaiyu threw the ball high and powerfully, and the two of them started fighting back and forth. When Lu Kaiyu plays ball, he runs quickly, responds quickly to hitting the ball, and has strong power. When Zhou Ziyu plays ball, he moves less and moves gracefully, giving people a feeling of ease. One is sporty and energetic, the other is sexy and charming. Watching them play is a joy to watch. After teaching Xiao Qiao and Shen Xinyi, Li Jie asked them to practice for a while, and then focused his attention on Zhou Ziyu and Lu Kaiyu. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 360. The two ran back and forth, hitting each other, and the fight was very intense. 5 or 6 minutes later, Lu Kaiyu scored another point with a clean swing and won the first game easily with a score of 7-5. Lu Kaiyu calmed down her slightly rapid breathing, looked at Zhou Ziyu with a smile and said, let's do it again. Okay, come again. Although he lost the first game, Zhou Ziyu didn't care at all. He calmed down his breathing, picked up the ball and threw it to Lu Kaiyu. Lu Kaiyu served again and the two continued to play. This time the two sides went back and forth, and the fight became more intense. Li Jie stood aside and watched the fierce confrontation between Zhou Ziyu and Lu Kaiyu, refusing to give in to each other. He couldn't help but think of the last episode of Love Apartment 3, the tennis showdown between Hu Yifei and Nilan. It was so similar. Speaking of which, isn't Nilan delicious? Why did Zhang Zheng choose Hu Yifei? The second game lasted for 7 or 8 minutes, and Lu Kaiyu won in the end, but it was a bit difficult to win. Zhou Ziyu and Lu Kaiyu gasped and looked at each other. Come again. The third game was even more intense, with the two hitting the ball hard and the tennis balls flying in the air. The game lasted for 8 minutes, and finally Zhou Ziyu hit a line shot with a tricky angle to win the game. After playing 3 games in a row, the two of them were physically exhausted, and both were breathing heavily. Come again, Lu Kaiyu calmed down and said a little unwillingly. She obviously felt that Zhou Ziyu's skills were not as good as hers and she shouldn't have lost this round. But she lost the next 2 games. The score became 2-3. However, it was also very difficult for Zhou Ziyu to win, and every game was a narrow victory. After 5 games, she was out of breath and dripping with sweat due to excessive physical exertion. Come again, Lu Kaiyu's physical exertion was not small, but her condition was obviously much better than Zhou Ziyu's. But after losing 3 games in a row, she became more and more impatient. Li Jie saw clearly from the sidelines that Lu Kaiyu was stronger than Zhou Ziyu both technically and physically. But Zhou Ziyu was too smart. After 2 games, he roughly figured out Lu Kaiyu's ball path, and then attacked in a targeted manner. Lu Kaiyu lost because of her mentality. After losing a game, she was eager to win back, so her mentality was unstable and Zhou Ziyu took advantage of her. As long as she stabilizes her mentality and relies on her technical and physical advantages, she will definitely be the winner in the end. Zhou Ziyu won again in the sixth game, but her physical strength was a little unable to keep up. So in the seventh game, she didn't run in time, lost the ball continuously, and lost the game. After regaining the game, Lu Kaiyu was no longer so impatient. After her mentality calmed down, she played better and better, and then easily won 2 games to even the score to 5:4. Lu Kaiyu wiped the sweat from her head and said with a smile, "It seems that I am going to win this set. As long as she wins one more game, she will win this set." Zhou Ziyu gasped violently, "The fight is not over yet, it's not yet certain who will win and who will lose. Let's serve." The 10th inning begins. Li Zhe's eyes lingered on the slender legs and beautiful bodies of Zhou Ziyu and Lu Kaiyu. Watching them play ball is really eye-catching. Suddenly I heard someone behind me say softly, "It looks good, doesn't it?" "Yeah," Li Zhe responded subconsciously. But then he reacted, and when he looked back, he saw Xiao Jiao staring at him closely. The president is jealous. I mean, they both played well. Xiao Jiao snorted lightly, not believing it at all. Li Zhe coughed lightly, changed the subject and said, "How are you two practicing?" "It's okay," Xiao Jiao waved the racket in a pretentious manner. "I can bounce the ball." Shen Xian first bounced a few balls up, then swung a few balls down, and finally caught the ball. "Very good," Li Zhe nodded. Being able to practice like this in such a short period of time shows that Shen Guigui's athletic talent is quite good. At this time, Zhou Ziyu's voice was heard from over there, "I told you, it's not certain who will win and who will lose." Li Zhe turned around and saw Zhou Ziyu bending over and holding his legs, breathing heavily, and her hair was wet with sweat. She worked hard to get back into the game. The score became 5-5, and the two had to play 2 more games to decide the winner. Lu Kaiyu was also very tired, holding her legs with both hands and panting. The two of them had been playing this game for almost an hour. "So what if we can win the game back? Can you still fight?" Lu Kaiyu didn't give Zhou Ziyu a chance to recover, picked up the ball and served again. Zhou Ziyu seemed to be really exhausted, and Lu Kaiyu won the round in just 2 or 3 minutes. However, in the 12th round, Zhou Ziyu once again tried his best to win another round. The score became 6-6. At this time, not only Li Zhe but also Lu Kaiyu could see that Zhou Ziyu had lost on purpose to save his energy, and that any physical exhaustion was just an act. Lu Kaiyu stared at Zhou Ziyu. No wonder Xiao Jiao called her Zhou Fox, she was too thoughtful. In the deciding game of the 7th game, the two played extremely anxiously. At the 7th or 8th minute of the match, Zhou Ziyu found the right opportunity and hit another line shot with a tricky angle. Lu Kaiyu failed to intercept in time and watched the ball fly past his eyes. "I win." Zhou Ziyu squatted down and panted violently. This time she was really exhausted. The goal that hit the line just now was a gamble, and she would be the loser if it continued. "Let's play another game," Lu Kaiyu said to Zhou Ziyu. She was unwilling to lose. "Not coming." Zhou Ziyu shook his head lightly. She had already tried her best to win this set, and if she continued to fight, even if she still had the physical strength, it would be difficult to win against Lu Kaiyu. Xiao, you two, drink some water." Li Zhe came over with a smile, holding 2 bottles of water. Zhou Ziyu and Lu Kaiyu took the water and went off to rest. Xiao Jiao and Shen Xian came on the stage and started practicing, with Li Zhe guiding them. Both of them are novices, and they don't know how to block the ball yet, but they play very quickly. Basically a game lasts about 3 minutes. After playing for more than half an hour, Xiao Jiao and Shen Xian got a little tired and stopped. At this time, Lu Kaiyu had almost rested. She stood up from the chair and said, "Husband, let's have a game together. Okay, Li Jie said with a smile. Just playing ball is no fun, how about we also bet on something? What are you betting on? Lu Kaiyu asked. Li Jie looked at her and mouthed something. After hearing this, Lu Kaiyu couldn't help but give Li Jie an angry look, and was speechless at his bad taste. This guy just likes to mess with them and make them do it to him. However, she neither agreed nor disagreed, but asked, what if you lose? If I lose, I'll have to work one more class, Li Jie said pointedly. He was such a considerate boyfriend, knowing that she had lost an opportunity, so he worked tirelessly to make up for her regardless of her health. But Lu Kaiyu didn't appreciate his favor at all. No. This guy's thinking is too beautiful. No matter he wins or loses, he will always take advantage. Seeing that she disagreed, Li Jie thought for a while and said, let's do this. If I lose, I will agree to a condition. Okay, Lu Kaiyu agreed this time. More than half an hour later, Lu Kaiyu said with a smile, I won. She easily defeated Li Jie with a score of 6-3, and the depression of losing to Zhou Ziyu disappeared. Admit defeat, Xiao Yu, what do you want? Li Jie said happily. Although his tennis skills are somewhat worse than Lu Kaiyu's, he won't lose so quickly or so miserably. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 361. It's more that he let things slip on purpose. There is no need to argue with your girlfriend about winning or losing. If you win, you lose, and if you lose, you win. I haven't thought about it yet. I'll tell you when I think about it, Lu Kaiyu said. Zhou Ziyu stood up from the chair and said, hubby, how about we play a game together? How to fight? Li Jie asked. The four of us will fight one of you. If you lose, you have to agree to a condition. No. Li Jie is not stupid. How could he beat four in a fight? However, if he were to fight against four, he wouldn't be afraid of them, but they just wouldn't want to. Husband, don't refuse in a hurry, listen to me and then I'll make a bet. At this point, Zhou Ziyu paused, with a smile in his eyes, if you win, the four of us will be together tonight. Xiao Qiao stopped as soon as he heard this. Joe Fox, don't represent us, you can only represent yourself. Lu Kaiyu and Shen Xinyi also nodded in agreement. Li Jie was really moved after hearing this. The biggest bottom line for the four of them is the four-person relay race, and he only experienced it once during the Spring Festival last year, under the pretext of staying up late. As for putting the four of them on the same bed, he could only think about it in his mind. His little lover's suggestion was so thoughtful. Okay, it's settled. I don't agree, Xiao Qiao objected again. Li Jie glanced at her and said, I don't agree. You can't just go along with your girlfriend, sometimes you have to be tough when it's time to be tough. But the premise is that you have status, money, and good looks, at least one of the three. Otherwise, it will be difficult to find a girlfriend, so just be more obedient. Zhou Ziyu looked at Xiao Qiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi. Xiao Qiao, you and Xinyi are in a group, Kaiyu and I are in a group. Upon hearing this, Lu Kaiyu decisively refused, no, I can't trust you. She was cheated by Li Jie several times, but she was always tricked by Zhou Ziyu. Zhou Ziyu can be shameless and have no bottom line in fighting for favor, but she still wants to be shameless. Four people together, she can't do this kind of thing. Xiao Qiao glanced at Zhou Ziyu angrily, Joe Fox, it's not your turn to make the decision yet. After saying that, she said to Lu Kaiyu, Kaiyu, shall we work in pairs? Lu Kaiyu listened and nodded. Zhou Ziyu just smiled at this, and then said to Shen Xinyi, Xinyi, let's work in pairs. Shen Xinyi did not refuse and nodded in agreement. In the first game, Li Jie played against Zhou Ziyu and Shen Xinyi. In just 30 minutes, Li Jie easily defeated Zhou Ziyu and Shen Xian with a score of 6-2. It's no surprise that Josiah gave up, otherwise even if Li Jie could win, it would never be so easy. Xiaoqiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi all looked at Josiah with a look like, how could you do this? Her bottomless attempts to please Li Jie undoubtedly put them in an awkward position. You are the good guy and we are all the bad guys? Lu Kaiyu said to Xiaoqiao, Xiaoqiao, why don't you come on stage? I'll do it alone. A novice like Xiaoqiao will not only not be able to help much, but may also cause trouble. Kaiyu, can you be alone? Xiaoqiao was a little worried. She and Li Jie can play whatever they want in private, even if he asks her to shout. But 4 people, no, 5 people together, this was really a bit beyond her bottom line. Her bottom line is that at most one more Josiah can be added. Xiaoqiao, don't worry, Lu Kaiyu said confidently. This is the second game between Li Jie and Lu Kaiyu. For the sake of his little thoughts, Li Jie didn't hold back at all this time. Lu Kaiyu, too, tried her best, even harder than when she fought Josiah before. The two of them went back and forth, playing extremely anxiously. The game lasted for more than 50 minutes. In the end, Lu Kaiyu defeated Li Jie by a slight advantage. Li Jie sighed softly in his heart, feeling as if he had lost a small goal. Lu Kaiyu fought too hard. He only had such a small wish, why couldn't they satisfy it? Lu Kaiyu noticed Li Jie's disappointed expression. She was very complicated inside. She didn't want to stand up and be the villain. But in order to keep the bottom line, she had to be this evil person. Thinking of this, Lu Kaiyu glanced at Josiah, who looked aside and looked like nothing was wrong, and became even more disgusted with her. Li Jie looked at the time and found that it was already past 10 p.m., so he said to Xiaoqiao, Josiah, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi, it's getting late. Let's go back and come back to play again tomorrow. Husband, are we coming again tomorrow? Xiaoqiao asked. We will come here to eat every day and play for a while. Li Jie plans to use the Jiao Hotel as his designated hotel. Eating in a 5-star hotel every day costs a lot of money, but he has so much money, why would he keep it if he doesn't spend it? Back at Tangxiang Villa, Xiaoqiao, Josiah, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi all went to take a shower. This villa has only 4 bathrooms, one on the first floor, and Li Jie's master bedroom also has a separate bathroom. After the 4 of them had finished taking a shower, Li Jie called them all together again. Husband, what's wrong with you? Xiaoqiao asked. She only wore a bath towel, while Josiah and the others wore nightgowns. Li Jie liked to see them wearing nightgowns, so they all wore nightgowns together. It's something. Li Jie asked them all to sit down, then took out 4 bank cards and gave one to each of the 4 of them. There is a limit of 300,000 yuan in this card. You can use it as pocket money. The pocket money he gave them before was more or less, but now it's time to treat them uniformly. After hearing this, Josiah did not hesitate and reached out to take the bank card. Xiaoqiao took a step slowly, but did not hesitate and took the bank card as well. Shen Xian hesitated for a moment, and when she saw that Xiaoqiao and Josiah had both accepted them, she also accepted them in her bank card. Only Lu Kaiyu hesitated and did not answer. She was unwilling to take too much money from Li Jie. The house she lives in and the luxury car she drives are all in Li Jie's name, which is barely justified. But with 300,000 yuan a month, she felt like she was being taken care of. Li Jie saw Lu Kaiyu's thoughts, smiled, grabbed her hand, and stuffed the bank card into her palm. Don't think too much about it. It's normal for girls to spend their boyfriend's money. It's just that I earn much more than ordinary people. Besides, I don't make money just to spend it on you. After hearing what he said, Lu Kaiyu had no choice but to collect the bank card. But I can't spend that much money. 300,000 a month, an average of 10,000 a day, how could she spend it all? Lu Kaiyu is not as good at spending money as Josiah. She just goes shopping and buys some clothes, cosmetics, and the like every month. Her monthly salary of 7,000 to 8,000 yuan is enough for her. As the president's secretary, Lu Kaiu earns more than 7,000 yuan a month. This salary is not high, it can only be considered a normal level. Li Jie smiled, looked at the four of them and said, Qiao Bao, Xiao Yu, Kuai Kuai, from now on you must learn to spend money and be willing to spend money. He paused and said, this is also a contribution to society.